Tonight for two teams, their baseball summer comes to a close. Thousands of travel miles are behind them, untold nights in hotels. What's in front of them is a final chance to be called a champion. The Scranton Wilkes-Barre Rail Riders and the El Paso Chihuahuas will decide who will celebrate tonight in the Gildan AAA National Championship game on NBCSN. What a beautiful night for baseball here in the Music City, Memphis, Tennessee. Welcome to NBCSN's coverage of the Gildan AAA National Championship game. These are two teams that have fought all year long in their respective leagues. The El Paso Chihuahuas winning the PCL championship, and the Scranton Wilkes-Barre Rail Riders winning the International League title in the Governor's Cup. How did they get there? Al Padrique and Rod Barajas bring two teams ready to win it in a one-game winner-take-all championship showdown. Talk about strange. The Chihuahuas won their championship on this play. A pop-up bunt. The winning run scores. They beat Oklahoma City by a final score of 4-3. A team that hit 156 homers during the regular season wins it on this play. Meanwhile, Scranton Wilkes-Barre's Rail Riders, the story of their season really came down to game 2. They're trailing 1-0 in the 9th inning. Guess what? 4 walks and a hit batsman. They walk Pete Cosma. The winning run scores. And they're on to the championship game on NBCSN. Hi, hello, and welcome to Memphis, everyone, along with big number 36, the pitcher, Jim Cott, and John Manuel will join us momentarily. I'm George Grant. Kitty, been a long time since you've been in Memphis. You played here, some great memories here, and some great baseball.
We'll get into the history of Memphis during the game, but boy, it's good to be back here. It's always good to be in a ballpark where they're playing for a championship. Now, tonight, our viewers will get a look at some great young talent. We'll start with El Paso, the Chihuahuas. They call them the Core Four. They have 4 players in their lineup that have been here most of the year. The crown jewel, Hunter Renfro. We'll hear a lot about him. Wilkes-Barre, Scranton Wilkes-Barre won 91 games, more than any team in the minor leagues, but a lot of those players are up with the Yankees, so they've got some new talent. One we're going to keep our eye on, Clint Frazier.
A lot of young talent. Let's take a look at Jim's keys to the game, brought to you by AutoZone. And when you talk about AutoZone, from parts to helpful advice, AutoZone has everything you need to get into zone, Jimmy.
Well, I think which of these young pitchers will shine? Early 20s, Jordan Montgomery, Walker Lockett. They've got to set the tone for those two teams. They weren't in AAA when the season started. Now, can El Paso's hitters solve the Rail Riders pitching? As you said, the Chihuahuas led the world practically in home runs in the minor leagues, and the Rail Riders team ERA under 3 should be quite a challenge.
Good pitching against good hitting. Good hitting against good pitching. Coming up next, it's a one-game winner-take-all showdown. We'll join John Manuel, have the first pitch after these messages. The 2016 AAA National Championship on NBCSN is brought to you by Gildan, official national partner of AAA baseball. Gildan, every thread counts. And by On Deck, a leading provider of small business loans nationwide. Visit OnDeck.com to see how On Deck can take your business to the next level. Back at AutoZone Park, here's the starting lineup for El Paso, brought to you by On Deck, the leader in small business for El Paso. They come in with 156 homers, more than anybody else in all of minor league baseball, the #1 hitting team as well. And they'll face a pretty good pitcher. It's Jordan Montgomery. And Kitty, I know that Montgomery's a guy who certainly will have our eyes on, and we'll be hearing from him shortly. Here's Montgomery ready to go to work on the mound, the big hulking 23-year-old from Sumter, South Carolina, ready to go to work.
6'6", 225. We're going to get a look at a couple pitchers tonight that are well over 6'5", 225 pounds. Montgomery at one time during the year, and we're going to get tell us about your pitches, Jordan.
Changeup, slider, curveball.
Pretty simple. Got all 4 pitches, and he's ready to go to work. Manuel Margot announces the leadoff hitter for Rod Barajas' club as they come in. 3 games over 500 during the regular season at 73 and 70. Big number 47 deals in the dirt for Ball number 1. Margot is one of 2 players at the top of this lineup that came over in the big deal in November. And there's a shot up in the air. Can they locate it? Here comes Cave, and he finally locates it. Jake Cave in center field. Looks like he lost it in the lights of the sun, and he finally does haul it in. Cave is your center fielder. Let's take a look at the defensive alignment for the Rail Riders, brought to you by Gildan. Every thread counts. Payton's in left. Cave, outstanding defender in center, and we'll talk a lot about Frazier tonight. Culver, Cosma, a major leaguer. Diaz at second. Parmalee at first. Montgomery's on the mound, ready to go to work here. And I guess, Kitty, if you talk about guys that have had major league experience, Pete Cosma's at the top of that list.
Yeah, slick fielder, had some time with the Cardinals a few years ago. Had a little difficulty hitting big league pitching, but he's solid out there at shortstop.
So Margot pops out, and here's Carlos Azuaje. It was Margot and Azuaje who came over in the Kimbrel deal. This one hits solidly to left. Going back, looking up at the warning track, hauling it in is Mark Payton. Sounded good off the bat, but in front of the warning track, Payton hauls it in.
Yeah, good sign for Montgomery for the Rail Riders, because he's coming off a tough start against Gwinnett in the playoffs, and command of the fastball is key for him. So he got a couple quick outs here by throwing a minimum number of pitches. That'll settle a young pitcher down in a hurry.
Here is AAA numbers: 6 appearances and a 5-1 record and an ERA of under 1. Outstanding young prospect. And here's Austin Hedges. Not one of the younger prospects, but boy, has he been part of the rebuilding of this team that San Diego put together at AAA. He's the catcher. He's had a great offensive year from a Hedges standpoint. 324, a couple of homers and 4 knocked in the postseason. But in addition to that, 326 during the regular season, and he's become a leader on this club as well. That's down a little low.
Well, we mentioned the core 4, George, that they lead off the game for El Paso. The first 4 guys in the lineup are all considered top prospects with the Padres, and one or all of them could be on their team next year.
Working from the third base side of the rubber, the big left-hander goes into his motion. Here's the 2-0. That's way high for ball 3. The umpires in this one, Alex Ortiz from the PCL is behind the plate. Derek Malika is at first. He's from the International League. Nick Marley is at second from the Pacific Coast League, and Ben May is at third from the PCL. Green light, 3-0. 3 balls, 1 strike on the swing and miss from Hedges. Kitty, you work with some great catchers, and if you talk to Rod Barajas, he says the job that this guy's done, not just at the plate but behind the plate, Hedges, really has meant a lot to this club. High in the air to center field. Cave drifting back in front of the warning track. So fly ball outs here in the first inning. To the bottom of 1 we go. We're scoreless in Memphis in the AAA Gildan National Championship game. Now you come to Memphis, it's Elvis territory, but it's also home of the Peabody, one of the legendary hotels in the South and in Memphis. Let's check the starting lineup for Scranton Wilkes-Barre, brought to you by On Deck, the leader in small business loans. Clint Frazier's the man we'll be talking about all night long. He is the youngster acquired from the Cleveland Indians in the trade for Andrew Miller. It's a lineup that had more runs and better hitting than anybody else. Here's the pitcher.
4-seam, curveball, slider, changeup.
They call him Big Tex. He's big no matter what you do. And that's Walter Lockett. He's got the rotation, he's got the pitches, and he's ready to deal to Mark Payton, the leadoff hitter for the Rail Riders.
And we saw 3 fly ball outs top of the first. If Walker Lockett, as he described his pitches there, he's got a lot of movement on his fastball. You're apt to see a lot more ground ball outs.
Lined into center field, sinking. It'll drop in front of Margot for the first hit of the ball game. And Payton, who hit 231 in the previous series, starts it off with a base hit to center field. So the leadoff hitter is on, and already young Walter Lockett, who pitched on 4 different levels this year, will be working from the stretch.
Yeah, it's quite an assignment for both these young pitchers, thinking especially in Lockett's case, you start out at low A, move up to higher A, double A. Now you're in triple A pitching a championship game.
Talking about talent, talking about people you want to keep an eye on. This is one, Clint Frazier. Frazier came over from the Indians in Andrew Miller deal. one of the premier prospects in all of minor league baseball, over at the AAA level with the Yankees, and you certainly expect him to be on the fast track to make it to the major leagues. Here's Lockett. Lockett 10-9 and an ERA of 2.96 in those 4 levels that he traveled through this year. Rip towards the corner. It's going to be in the corner, scooped up by the left fielder Tivlahan, and that'll put runners at first and second. And that's the kind of thing, John Manuel, with us from Baseball America, that you've seen a lot of from this young hitter.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of Clint Frazier over the years. We have 2 of the first 13 picks in the 2013 draft in right field tonight. Clint Frazier, who we just saw, 5th overall pick of the Cleveland Indians that year. Massive Popeye forearms. He's got the ginger hair with the long red hair. He had to cut 7 inches to become a member of the Yankees organization, get that trimmed up. But he's got some work to do. The lower half needs to get cleaned up in his swing. That was maybe the hardest contact he's had as a Scranton player. He said he's been fighting it longer than he's ever fought it before. Hunter Renfroe didn't fight it all year. El Paso's right fielder, guys. 30 home runs, more home runs than walks. And both these guys have all the tools that teams look for in profile, championship caliber right fielders. 2 stars that could shine tonight.
Thanks, Big John. Great to have you back with us. Here's Lockett from the stretch with Chris Parmelee, the first baseman, bangs this one foul. And we'll be talking a lot about Renfroe and a lot about Frazier all night long. And Kitty, no matter where you are, you can be in Memphis and talk about it, but you and your work, we've heard a lot about these 2 guys for a long time.
Yeah, I think when I looked at Frazier and with the trimmed hair, he looks like a pup out of Josh Donaldson. I mean, he's got that same kind of power and pop. And what's so impressive when you see Frazier's not as big as Renfroe, but gosh, the power and the size and the agility of young players today seems like it gets better every year.
Good speed on the base pass. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Parmelee, the left-handed swinging first baseman. That's a nubbed foul down the third base line and into the dugout. The story of the Rail Riders season has been one that really gives you a reason why Parmelee is in the lineup today. They've had a host of players called up to the Yankees. The Yankees, of course, made their major deals right before the trading deadline and brought a host of players up to New York. That left some players coming up from Double-A to Scranton, Wilkes-Barre. Parmelee had a chance to go to New York, unfortunately for him, in a year when the Yankees had 3 first basemen hurt. When he went up, he got hurt. There's Al Pedrique, 56-year-old veteran baseball player, the manager his first year at AAA. He took over from Dave Miley. Miley, a Hall of Fame manager in the International League for so many years. Pedrique's had a great year. That's fouled off. In fact, Miley, Mark Bombard, Lee Elia, John Russell, all outstanding managers at Scranton, Wilkes-Barre, and Kitty, that guy's a pretty good manager.
Yeah, he really is, and great history. I had a chance to talk to Al. It comes from a country that's produced so many great middle infielders down in Venezuela, starting with Chico Carrasquel, Aparicio, Vizquel, Concepcion, Guillen, on and on.
2 balls, 2 strikes from the stretch is Lockett. And high in the air down the right field line. Renfroe going back at the wall, looking up, going to be gone. What a way to start for Parmelee. His first postseason homer, his 12th homer of the year. And Chris Parmelee gives the Rail Riders an early 3-0 lead off Walter Lockett. That just kept carrying, didn't it?
Well, it sure did, because he was out front on that pitch. That was an off-speed pitch from Lockett. It looked like it was going to be a lazy fly. It also looked like it was going to hook foul. Let's take another look at it. See, way out in front, he almost hit it with 1 arm. Nothing new for Chris Parmelee. Got called up for the Yankees earlier this year and homered in his first game there. Of course, a draft pick of the Twins. He's got a little big league experience and timed that one perfectly.
Now, nobody won more games than Scranton Wilkes-Barre, 91 in minor league baseball. Here's a first pitch swing by the catcher, Kyle Chihuahuas. That's caught in center field by the center fielder Margot. And there's your first out of the inning finally for Lockett.
Well, what we've seen so far, George, is both these lineups want to put on a little show and show they can hit, because nobody's eager to get a deep count. First pitch they see that looks good, they're hacking.
That's postseason, especially in this game. You know, very often you get here and sometimes you have some of the players that were with you all year long. In many cases, half of your team's been called up, and that's the case for both of these clubs. Here's Jay Cave. Speaking of a long and winding road, Cave was a Rule 5 selectee of the Reds from the Yankees during the offseason. Spent spring training with the Reds and then was offered back and sent back to the Yankees. And he's had a great year defensively and offensively. He was the MVP of the championship series when Scranton Wilkes-Barre won the Governor's Cup, and he picks right up where he left off with a solid single to center field, and that's the 4th hit in the inning for Scranton Wilkes-Barre.
Now, we talked about the Rail Riders pitching, but they got most of the publicity, but their hitters are up there in a lot of league categories as well, and they're putting on quite a show here in the first inning.
So Cave on at first, and you talk about players coming up. Here's Mike Ford. The Yankees called up Solano, who was their normal third baseman. In fact, he made it to the major leagues, got a base hit on his first game against the Red Sox. And here's Ford, called up from Double-A, the New Jersey native, joining the club just today, and he's at the plate in the DH role. The home team decided by who wins the All-Star game, and this year the International League won the All-Star game, so they are the home team, so they are using the designated hitter in tonight's game.
Yeah, you mentioned Ford just coming up, and if any of you missed the open, this Scranton Wilkes-Barre team that won 91 games, you know, they've got like Judge is up in the big leagues, Austin's up in the big, Solano just went up, so those are a lot of the guys that had a lot to do with the 91 wins, and with them up in the big leagues, a lot of guys like Ford are now getting a chance to perform in the championship game.
Hey, Kitty, you know, you get to the final day of the season in any level, in any year, at any age. There's a shot down the right field line. It is foul. It's great to be part of a chance to win a championship.
Yeah, it really is. I don't care what level you're at. And of course, the format has changed here over the years. For years in my younger days as a professional, the Junior World Series, you know, it was a 4 out of 7, just like the big World Series. But now the Gildan Championship game allows on television, allows the fans to come to one game, see a winner take all.
(3-0) the count. Bill Ball's 2 strikes to the young designated hitter with Pete Kozma on deck. Lockett to the stretch. This one hit high in the air to right. Back at the edge of the warning track is Renfroe. Runner goes halfway. Cave will retreat to first. And there's your second out of the inning, and here comes Kozma. Lockett has been through 4 levels this year, John Manuel, and as his manager Rod Baraja said, he's been bulletproof, but he's facing some bullets tonight, isn't he?
Yeah, he's given up some bullets, and I wanted to ask Jim, you know, this is a sinker baller who's typically 90 to 94. He's at 170 innings, by far his career high. Jim, I thought sinker ballers were supposed to get a little bit more movement. Does this stuff look a little flat to you? Because he's leaving a lot of balls up right now.
Well, I'll tell you what I think the reason for that could be, and we'll get into it next inning.
Fly ball to right. Renfroe's there, and that'll do it. But a single by Payton, a single by Frazier, a big bomb from Chris Parmalee. Lockett's trailing 3-0 after 1 in the Gildan AAA National Championship game.
Good evening, baseball fans. Welcome to the 2016 Gildan National Championship game at AutoZone Park, right here in the heart of the great city of Memphis. I'm Rob Packard, Vice President of Marketing for Gildan USA, makers of your favorite t-shirts, underwear, and socks, and national sponsor of AAA baseball and all 30 of its great teams and ballparks. Whether at the ballpark or just spending time with family and friends, Gildan apparel is worn by baseball fans everywhere. Good luck to both teams, and enjoy the game.
Gildan, every thread counts, official sponsor of AAA baseball here. A big first inning, and the Scranton Wilkes-Barre Rail Riders have a 3-0 lead over El Paso. Back on the mound is the left-handed Jordan Montgomery. He'll face one of the young stars of minor league baseball, Hunter Renfroe. Renfroe, San Diego Padres first-round draft pick, 13 overall in 2013. He's got the full package.
Yeah, he certainly seems to, and I think the Padres being very patient with 4 of their young prospects here to not rush him to the big leagues.
Broken bat. He'll go back for a new piece of lumber. That's fouled off.
That's unusual. I mean, that's the way bats broke when I played. You know, they splintered. Nowadays, they usually shatter because they're so light. They're laminated, or they call it a matte finish. They're harder than concrete. Must have hit this right off the end.
Exactly what he did. You see on the replay is the tip of the bat shatters and heads out to the mound. New piece of lumber, and it's no balls and 2 strikes against this lefty, Jordan Montgomery. And after his first inning of scoreless work, Scranton Wilkes-Barre working on 24 consecutive scoreless innings in the postseason. Pitching has had a lot to do with their success.
Sure has, and especially for youngsters like Montgomery, who had a great year at Double-A, and now gets a chance to show his talent at Triple-A.
Rocketed to center. Cave going back, looking up, hauls it in at the warning track. A rocket off the bat of Renfroe. How good was Renfroe this year? The PCL most valuable player and an all-star. Boy, the ball just jumped off his bat.
Yeah, the pitchers right now are not fooling yet. My pitching coaches after innings like this would say maybe either throw it a little harder or a little easier, but quit throwing at the same speed because they're right on time.
Cave.
Yeah, he's been busy already out there in center field.
He didn't have any wind sprints to do today after the first couple of innings. First pitch swinging. Here's Patrick Kivlahan. Fly ball to right, and quickly there are 2 outs. So first pitch swinging is the rule of the day, and for Scranton Wilkes-Barre, it's been successful so far. For the Chihuahuas, they are 0 for 5, and here's Nick Torres, the designated hitter today. Yeah, I think when we talked to the manager yesterday, Kitty, I think they both said the same thing. You know, it's been a long season. Rod Barajas, the manager of the Chihuahuas, and certainly Al Padrique both said, look, you know, we're playing with house money. We're going to go out there, tell the guys relax. Not a lot of signs, not a lot going out. Let's just go out there and play some baseball, get your swings in, and go after them.
Yeah, I think like the big leagues, there's more pressure now since the playoffs and the wild card. I mean, the pressure in the wild card game, then the division series. When you get to the World Series or the championship game, it's like, well, we've made it. They want to win, but it's not the same kind of pressure.
Swing and a miss, and it's 0-2. Montgomery, 23 years of age, out of Sumter, South Carolina.
George, if there's some Yankee fans watching tonight, and elderly Yankee fans, you said Sumter, South Carolina.
Oh, yeah.
There's a pretty great Yankee that came out of there.
You're not kidding.
Bobby Richardson,
the great second baseman, and one of the most inspirational people that the game of baseball's ever had. Swing and a miss, down and in, and that'll do it. 6 up, 6 down. Montgomery's got it done. When we return, the 8-9-1 due up. Welcome back. Scranton Wilkes-Barre with an early 3-0 lead as we go to the top of the second inning. Let's take a look at the defensive alignment for El Paso, the Chihuahuas. Margot, outstanding defender in center field. Rondon, great speed, great hands at short. And behind the plate, Austin Hedges, who really has taken charge on this club. This sponsored by Gildan. Every thread counts, the Chihuahuas defense. Digging in is Culver. And then Jonathan Diaz, and top of the order, Mark Payton. I don't think it's an exaggeration to say one of the biggest changes for this ball club was Austin Hedges behind the plate. His manager, Rod Barajas, challenged him earlier this year to be a leader, not just a player.
Well, George, we talked about the evolution of the catching position. Johnny Bench changed all that. Changed it when he started hitting home runs and being a great catcher. And, of course, a guy like Hedges, they expect you to hit. But the #1 responsibility of a catcher is to learn your pitching staff, make them feel comfortable. I think that's what Rod is talking to about it, because Rod was that kind of catcher himself.
Let's hear from Austin about what Barajas said to him.
I think from the whole team standpoint was to try and take a bigger leadership role. And whether it was taking somebody under my wing or you know, just picking guys up when they're down, because, you know, I mean, over the course of a year, everybody's going to struggle. And we had a lot of guys that were struggling at times, but it allowed other guys to pick them up. So I kind of took that as my job with not just the pitching staff, but with the rest of the position players to, you know, pick them up when they're down and try and keep everybody going.
That's Austin Hedges. His manager, Rod Barajas, an outstanding catcher in his days, came up with Arizona. And it's ironic, too, that Al Padrique was there when he came up. So it's really the mentor, Al Padrique, the manager here for Scranton Wilkes-Barre, going against the student, Rod Barajas, two guys that have a great deal of respect for each other.
Yeah, not that far apart in age. I think Al's, what is he, 56 or 40? And,
56, yeah.
56, and Rod in his early 40s.
Diaz bouncer to short. Good hands by Rondon. Takes care of that, and there's 2 away.
Yeah, nice play. And John mentioned John Manuel at the end of last inning. What about Walker Lockett with the movement? And John, I think what happens early in the game, if you're a sinker ball pitcher, the stakes are high. You want to try hard, and the tendency is to go to power instead of movement. And the first inning for most of us mortals was always find a cruising speed, find a little movement. Maybe they'll hit it off the end of the bat, but you start with power early and the hitters are jacked up and they're ready for that.
Back to the top of the order, Peyton singled his first time up. This time he bounces out. 1, 2, 3 in the second. 3-0. Chihuahuas go back to work. Back in Memphis, thank you very much.
I went down today to try to take a tour of the studio, and they had 2 busfuls of old people like me waiting to take a tour.
We both got shut out.
Yeah, they got shut out. I wanted to hear about Johnny Cash's start, but of course, in addition to the the ballpark and the baseball, the history here, great music history as well.
And so we're only a few blocks from there, and for 2 days, there have been lines of people going into the old recording studio where Elvis did his recording. And this is the Music City, a great music tradition, a great baseball tradition as well. And of course, when you talk about baseball tradition, last time I was here, it was Tim McCarver Stadium.
And the last time I was here was in 1959. It was Russwood Park that burned down the next year.
There's Jordan Montgomery. Rondon fouls one off. The speedy shortstop hits in the 7th spot. Nick Noonan will follow. And Chihuahuas 6 up, 6 down. Montgomery's continued what has been a great end of the season and postseason for the Rail Riders and their pitching staff. They've not only had more wins than anybody else in minor league baseball at 91. They had the #1 offensive team in the International League on the way to the Governor's Cup championship. Well, they also had the best pitching. That's a pretty good combo.
And they probably used the most players. They had a lot of them going up and down to play in the Bronx.
No balls, 2 strikes, and you love first pitch strikes, and that's what Montgomery's been doing.
Well, and I'll tell you, pitching against, from what I've seen of the Chihuahuas, even though they're down 3, it's sort of like pitching against Chuck Tanner's old Pittsburgh Pirates. You found out in a hurry whether you're going to have a good day or a bad day. They didn't take many pitches.
Bounce down to third, but foul. Jose in the postseason at .212, and in 24 games at the AAA level, he hit .300 with a homer and 9 knocked in, facing the young left-hander. You're talking to young pitchers today, Kitty. What do you tell them? How do you make it to the major leagues? What's the key?
Throw strikes, command your fastball to start with. And don't try to throw as hard as they tell you you can.
Line drive, right center field. That's going to drop for a hit. And the leadoff hitter here in the 3rd turns a single into a double. That's the kind of aggressiveness that this Chihuahuas club had all year long.
Yeah, good hustle right out of the way you get a double on a ball like that is run hard from step 1. Like Montgomery left a pitch maybe a bit up in the strike zone. Good to see hitters going the other way. We've seen a couple of them tonight because the game has become such a power game. You mentioned advice to pitchers, and it seems like every pitcher throws almost max effort. And Tommy Phelps, the Scranton pitching coach, asked me yesterday, how many times during a game did you throw maximum effort? I said never in 25 years. And I think that's why we see the arm injuries.
Here's Nick Noonan's had a good offensive year. He bangs this one into right. A late start by Rondon, so he'll have to hold at third. So it's 1st and 3rd, back-to-back base hits. And here's Austin Bousfield.
Well, they're not going to let too many pitches go by, and you can see the target there. The ball is a little bit up in the strike zone, and both the Chihuahua hitters to start the inning have taken advantage of that. Jordan Montgomery showed us his pitch grips, and when you see guys starting to line the ball like that, you better go to that two-seamer with a little movement on it and see if you can get a ground ball.
Here's Bousfield, the left fielder, digging in against the left-hander. That breaking ball misses. Middle of the infield double play depth with no one out here in the third and a 3-run lead as Bousfield stands at the plate. 1 ball, no strikes. From the stretch is the big left-hander. Swing and a miss. The Chihuahuas, of course, last year were the host of this game. The Gildan AAA National Championship game was in their park. And tonight, we understand that a whole bunch of fans are back at the ballpark watching the game. Rod Baraja saying our fans in El Paso have just been super. Brad Taylor, the GM there last year, so welcoming to everybody from all of minor league baseball. They put on a great show, as has also been the case here. In fact, tonight, Tim Haggerty, their broadcaster, is here along with the broadcasters for Scranton Wilkes-Barre, John Sadek and Darren Hedrick, alternating innings broadcasting tonight's game back to their fans. First and third from the stretch is the lefty.
What a great way for fans to enjoy baseball when they can't always get to a big league ballpark, because I mean, we're sitting in a big league ballpark right now.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I mean, and a lot of them are like that way in AAA, and it's great entertainment for a great price, and you can always look back and say, I saw these guys that are in the big leagues now. I saw them when they played AAA ball.
There are no bad ballparks anymore.
No.
Swing and a miss. He got a big pitch when he needed it. Middle of the infield can drop back.
Yeah, it's good sequence there. In old days, in my era, you were always told, you know, you threw changeups when you were behind in the count. Nowadays, changeups have become a strikeout pitch, and that was one right there. It looked like Jordan kind of turned that over. He's got 4 pitches, and as aggressive as these Chihuahuas are at the plate, that could be a very useful pitch for him. It was right there.
He said he's had his changeup since high school. Not something so many pitchers, Kitty, develop a changeup late, have a difficulty getting a handle on it, but he's had it from his high school years on. Back to the top of the order. Manuel Margot fly to center first time up. And the Padres gave up a lot when they gave up Craig Kimbrell, but when you get a Margot and an Azuaje, 2 guys who might be in the major leagues next year, that's a good trade.
You know, I mean, the Red Sox are going for it. They're leading the division right now. Kimbrell might be the answer to them going to the World Series or winning it, but the Padres might get 2 very good position players in exchange.
No balls, 2 strikes to the center fielder for the Chihuahuas. Short lead down at first and third. In the dirt, great block. Swing and a miss. And just like that, a promising inning, a double and a single, back-to-back strikeouts, and there's 2 away with 2 on.
Yeah, again with 2 strikes, and you see the aggressiveness of the hitters. That pitch was a change, looked like a 58-footer. Look at the sequence that Montgomery attacked Margot with. First pitch foul, and it looked like a fastball out over the plate. Then a breaking ball down. Now it's 0-2.
So now 2 away, still first and third, and here's Carlos Azuaje. We talked about the great year that this team has had offensively. Hunter Renfroe, the player of the year in the PCL, and Azuaje was the rookie of the year in the PCL. Talk about great numbers. 321, 9 homers, 69 knocked in, solid defense. And a guy who's on the fast track to get to the major league level.
Yeah, not a high draft pick. 11th round. One of those guys that probably doesn't light up the scouts' radar gun, stopwatch, whatever, but he's proven he can play baseball.
From the stretch, 0-2. Talk about El Paso and the great host they were last year. Next year, Scranton Wilkes-Barre Rail Riders will host this Gildan AAA National Championship game. And this year here in Memphis, boy, they've rolled out the red carpet. The Music City always at its finest when folks come into town, and this certainly is no exception. Swing and fouled off again, and ahead in the count all night long so far has been Jordan Montgomery.
Yeah, to think where this city has come from. Russwood Park years ago burned down just before opening day in 1960. Louis Aparicio, Hall of Famer, played here in the mid-50s. Luke Appling, legendary Luke Appling, managed here. Of course, my good friend and yours as well, Tim McCarver, had a stadium here for years named after him. And now this AutoZone Park is like state-of-the-art.
From the stretch, here's the 0-2. Bouncer down to second. Gobbled up by Diaz, and that'll do it on the other side. We'll hear from Peter Freund, who's the head of this ownership group in Memphis, when John Manuel joins us after the break.
We're back here in Memphis. I'm John Manuel of Baseball America here on NBC Sports Network with Peter Freund, here the principal owner here of the Memphis Redbirds. And Peter, big year for this franchise, hosting this AAA National Championship game and being one of the top 5 teams in terms of improved attendance in the minor leagues. How big of a factor in that was having this game, and what helped turn this franchise around this year?
You know, when you look around this ballpark, so much has changed. There have been multi-million-dollar renovations. We took seats out and put in grass berms. We've got a new barbecue shack, all new clubs. But it's really just about the experience at the ballpark and how people want to watch a game today. You know, it's not just individual seats. It's 4 top seating. It's group and gathering areas. And we just see that success, and it's just starting to build again here in downtown Memphis.
You're a minority owner of the New York Yankees, major league team. You have a rooting interest tonight here, I know, with Scranton Wilkes-Barre. But the offseason, you don't just sit around and watch baseball games or anything else. You got plans for this offseason. What's the next step for this franchise and its place in this community?
You know, for us, it's just about tapping into the community of Memphis, and it's through our community fund and through initiatives with RBI, and what we're looking to do is really just build a brand around Memphis. And this city has so much soul, and it's known for barbecue, and it's known for music, but really it's got a great baseball tradition and baseball history, and that's what we're trying to tap into here.
A lot of history so far, and much more to be made here with the Memphis Redbirds and in this game, this AAA National Championship game. Thanks, Peter.
Thank you very much.
Back to you guys.
Thanks, Big John. Great to have you back with us from Baseball America, roaming around the stadium, talking to fans, talking to players, talking to people in this Music City. Here's Frazier, singled his first time up.
George, I couldn't help when Peter was talking about the fan experience. The berm out there reminds me a little bit of Kauffman Stadium in Kansas City. Fans can do that there. They can also do it in the outfield, and they have a grassy area out way beyond the left field wall, so you get pretty comfortable watching a game here.
Another year with some 41 million fans turning out for minor league baseball. What a staple of entertainment around this great country of ours. And congratulations to the increased attendance here in Memphis, but also to Charlotte. Charlotte ended with the best average attendance, and to the Indianapolis Indians, who finished with the best total attendance in all of minor league baseball. Quick flip in the dirt, pick, but a little bit late. Another outstanding play by Rondon, who almost turned it into an out.
Yeah, this infield is fast track. I mean, it's cut pretty short. That ball had a lot of top spin, a lot of speed. And that's all Rondon could do is catch it, throw off balance. Very, very close, but you saw Frazier spread the safe sign. He knew he was safe as soon as he hit the bag.
Nice ball by Derek Malika, the umpire down at first. We have no replay here today.
No, or there'd be one on that play, I'll assure you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
What's your opinion on replay in the game
Well,
today?
I wish they could get a center in every ballpark in the big leagues.
Yeah. Bouncer down to second, 4, 6. Turned it into 3, the double play.
See, now Lockett's got that little movement on the pitch. Now he's getting some ground ball outs. A key one in the first inning. Now the velocity may have been a little higher, but the results weren't good. And again, that's the danger of the radar gun, and put the emphasis on power. Nice little ground ball. Turns slickly from a swat A to Rondon.
First time up, Chris Parmalee fouled off 4 different pitches before finally drilling a 3-run home run that gave Scranton Wilkes-Barre a lead. Here he offers it the first pitch in a 4-6-3 double play. Early on in this one, it's been a Rail Riders kind of night, and it's been a Rail Riders kind of year. 91 wins, more than anybody else in minor league baseball.
You see Lockett getting a few swings and misses now. I mean, the Rail Riders jumped on Lockett on a lot of early count pitches to get those 3 runs. Now he's settled in a little bit.
Popped up into center field, and Margot will take care of that. So it's a 1-2-3, even with the leadoff base hit. Still Scranton leading at 3-0. The 2016 AAA National Championship on NBC-SN is brought to you by Gildan, official national partner of AAA baseball. Gildan, every thread counts. By On Deck, a leading provider of small business loans nationwide. Visit OnDeck.com to see how On Deck can take your business to the next level. And by the Memphis Convention and Visitors Bureau. For great food and fun ideas, go to ilovememphisblog.com. Another great downtown minor league ballpark. Here for so many years, baseball was outside of downtown. This Memphis team, a PCL expansion team in 1998. They've redone the ballpark. Once owned by the St. Louis Cardinals, now the new ownership group has made some improvements to it again. A great place for baseball in the downtown area. Here's Austin Hedges leads it off as we head to Scranton Wilkes-Barre's 3-0 lead here in inning number 4. With Hedges flied out first time up.
Boy, it's great form. A guy 6'6", well, a young kid really, 23 years old, 6'6", with that kind of rhythm in his motion. He gets over his front knee, really gets over his front side, gets a lot of angle on those pitches.
You're a big guy, Kitty, and I mean, you're a great athlete too. 16 Gold Gloves. You had great mechanics, but there's something about that leverage when you're that tall and delivering.
I guarantee you, I could not do the things at 23 that I saw Andy Pettit. You know, we didn't have the technique, the advanced coaching, what they can see video-wise. The technique now is so much better. If they could just do away with the radar gun and pitch counts, we'd really have some good pitching.
Hey, you pitched till age 45, over 4,500 innings pitched, durable. Different world today.
Yeah, well, when the pitching coaches of these two teams said how many times, Bronswell's beautiful to talk to, Bronswell Patrick, how many times did you throw max effort? I said never. You didn't pitch that way. Those are throwers. And I think Montgomery's proving that. Some of his big outs he's recorded tonight, even with men on base, have been on his changeup.
And you mentioned Andy Pettit. There's a guy who learned that way. I mean, one time he was 94, 95, and then when he became the best pitcher he could be, he toned it down a bit. Big swing and a miss by Hedges. There's one away. Hey, don't forget, Sunday night is football night, and here's the big question mark. We'll be in Arlington. Will Jay Cutler be in the lineup? Injured last night. Still a question mark. The Chicago Bears take on Des Bryant and the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday Night Football. Dan Patrick, Mike Tirico host Football Night in America at 7 Eastern, only on NBC. Well, in Chicago, they're hoping the football team can get it together, but boy, one of their 2 baseball teams has been brilliant. The Chicago Cubs, the best team in baseball so far. Is this the year that they'll beat the jinx and win it all?
I don't know. You know, the first World Series I remember as a kid that my dad, when he got me interested in baseball, when I was about to be 7 years old, was the '45 Tigers Cubs. It's the last time they were there.
Strike one, and a swing and a miss from Renfroe. The dream for all of these players is to make it to the major leagues, and for many of them it's a rocket shot through the minor leagues and all the way to the major leagues. Renfroe is one of those who is on that fast track. Big swing and a high fly ball to left. Back at the wall. Looking up is Peyton. He'll have room and he'll haul it in. That went a mile in the air. That was your basic Dave Kingman pop-up fly ball, huh?
That was one you come back and you say, just missed it. And, of course, that's what a pitcher wants. Little bit of movement, take it off the barrel of the bat. And, well, you know from covering Reds games, I coached Tommy Browning. Brownie pitched a perfect game back in '88, and I don't think he ever smelled 90 miles an hour, but he got a lot of those lazy flyouts.
Browning, of course, then a coach in the Reds organization. He talked to the Reds minor league pitchers one year and started his talk after they all told him they threw 95, 96, 97. He said, well, young man, I threw a perfect game throwing 86.
Right.
And there was a guy who believed in a first pitch strike.
Yeah, and we're seeing a lot of that tonight. I mean, it cost Lockett a little bit early in the game. His first pitch strikes were not in good places, but you got two teams swinging the bat early.
Here's Patrick Kiblahan, who lined to right first time up. 26 games at the AAA level and hit .306 during that period. 2 away here in the fourth. The lefty rocks and delivers down and in. Give the San Diego Padres credit. They told Rod Barajas early, you're going to keep these guys this year. It's not going to be a question, and when you're not in a pennant race, it's a lot easier to do that. But they kept, as you call them, the core four together all year long, and the plan is to keep them together and eventually bring them to the major leagues together. Looped into center field. That'll be a base hit. So Patrick picks up the base hit. There's 2 out and a runner on, and here's the designated hitter, Nick Torres.
Yeah, I don't think either team got the memo on work the count. They didn't see Moneyball. He said they saw, if it looks good, swing at it, and that's what we're seeing tonight.
Torres struck out to end the second. A double and a single by Rondon, and Noonan in the third to lead off the inning, but the lefty got out of that jam, and here a 2-out base hit. Third hit of the night for the Chihuahuas. And ahead again, strike one. Montgomery not only is from Sumter, South Carolina college product as well. One of the best baseball programs in America. And Jackie Bradley and company, they were part of a couple of back-to-back championship runs. He didn't play with them, but by the time he did get to South Carolina, he learned a lot. Learned a lot in high school, learned a lot in college too. 1 ball, 1 strike to Torres. A little bit bigger lead from Kiblahan.
Well, you know from playing for one of the elite college programs years ago, Southern Cal. It was Southern California, Florida State, Arizona State with Bobby Winkles there.
Yep.
And then now all of a sudden you mentioned South Carolina, coastal Carolina. You have all these schools throughout the country that have such great college programs that are allowing these kids to have good training in college and work their way through the minor leagues and have a lot of experience under their belt before they get to the big league. You just hope that they take it at the right pace so we could cut down on the number of injuries we see.
The power in college baseball used to be in the Southeast and then on the West Coast, but now it's everywhere. And certainly coastal Carolina crossed new territory with their championship. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Runner not going. Swing and a miss in the dirt. Gobbled up by the catcher, and that'll take care of the 4th inning. A base hit, 3 hits so far for the Chihuahuas. They're not on the board yet. Jake Cave will come up when we return, but let's go down to Mike Kelly and our Gildan on-field presentation.
Fans, it is now time for the $100,000 rapid fire pitching contest presented by Gildan. Let's go down to Rick.
That's right, fans. We are down here with Tommy from right here in Memphis, Tennessee. Tommy's got 30 seconds to throw as many balls as he can. 8 balls through the hole on the fly wins him $1,000. 9 through wins $10,000. You make 10 through, you get the grand prize of $100,000 from Gildan. Tommy, you ready? Give me 30 seconds on the clock. All right, on your mark. Get set. Go. There it is, Tom. There you go. You're getting close, Tom. Let's cheer him on, fans. Let's cheer him on now. Gildan, of course, AAA's favorite brand of underwear, socks, T-shirts, apparel for the entire family, available at fine retailers nationwide. They're also the official national sponsor of AAA baseball in all 30 teams, all 30 ballparks. Look at Tommy go! Look at Tommy go! 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, man! How about a big round of applause for Tommy? There it is right there. There's Rob Packard, the VP of Marketing from Gildan USA, to present Tommy his check. How about a big round of applause for Tommy, ladies and gentlemen, in the Gildan $100,000 rapid fire game.
Kitty, we should have gotten you down there to do it. First pitch strikes.
I tell you what, he found a little groove there, and he did pretty well. Got 5 of them through there.
Great crowd on hand here, and you know there's always great crowds on the tour. Only 30 players will have a shot at the title for the FedEx Cup Championship and the biggest prize in golf. Our coverage of the Tour Championship begins Thursday at 1 Eastern on the Golf Channel and continues Saturday at noon on NBC. You know a little bit about golf. You know, we talk about switch hitters in baseball. Not many switch golfers. Yeah. You hit it from both sides.
I do. I enjoy it. Well, I guess fortunate in one way. When I took up the game, it was a right-hander's game, so I had to learn to play, and then equipment. So now I have a lot of fun because I could play a twosome by myself and enjoy it.
Bouncer right back over second.
You know what, we're talking about first pitch strikes and all the metrics and the records that teams keep. All you have to do is look at these 2 pitchers tonight. Montgomery, 15 at-bats. He had 11 first pitch strikes. 9 of those are outs. Now, Lockett suffered a little in the first inning, but he had, out of 13 at-bats, 10 first pitch strikes, and 7 of those are out. So it shows you if you continue to pound the strike zone early with your fastball or whatever, get a hit, you're going to get 80% of the hitters out.
So here's Lockett back to work with Mike Ford, the designated hitter, with 1 away. And this is an era where we do a lot of shifting. And John, when you look at it, one of the things that the Padres have done for a long time is shift, and they're doing it here tonight.
Yeah, and we're seeing it at the AAA level, and Ford hits it right into the shift to Jose Rondon, the shortstop. And it's amazing to me that there's enough data on batted ball information with AAA teams that you can do a shift where these 2 teams are in different leagues. Not only do they not play each other in the regular season, these aren't even all the same players who are on these teams. This is Mike Ford's first AAA game, but he comes up and they shift, and they've got him positioned perfectly. So there's an example where I know that the analytics sometimes seem overwhelming, but there's one case where the analytics came into play, and it worked really well, guys.
Yeah, Rod Barajas has all that on his phone. He was showing it to me, the information they get.
Looping liner into right off the bat of Cosman. That'll drop for a hit. So Pete gets a base hit. And for those of you that are baseball fans, you know the name Pete Cosma. He came up with the Cardinals, spent parts of 3 years with them, went to the World Series with them as well. Solid defender. If he hits any, he's in the major league.
I'll tell you, he had some big at-bats in that 2013 when they went to the World Series in the championship series or the division, one of the 2 against the Nationals. So he did have his moments at the plate.
And if you talk to his manager, Al Padrique, he says he's one of the keys to this ball club, that veteran presence that helped some of the young people that were coming up. Here's Cito Culver, bounced to short first time up. At this level, you need a couple of guys like that. You know, one guy who's gone to, and I think Al Padrique mentioned it, is, you know, Nick Swisher, who was with this club for a while, and he said he really mentored so many of the young players. He's gone now, but he had a big hand in the development of some of these players earlier on.
Yeah, swish Nick. I held Nick in my arms, I think, when I played with his dad. But
Dad's a great guy.
You know, Nick, he's got enough energy. He makes Jello nervous. I mean, he's on the move all the time.
You need energy on a club, though, don't you?
Sure. You got to have a blend. You got to have some quiet leaders, and then you need a little fire. Well, look at the Yankees during my playing day. When Bob Lemon managed them, things were calm. Things didn't go well. In comes Billy. Then they got a little too fiery. In comes Dick Hauser. So you change the atmosphere from calm to fiery depending on what you need.
Nothing quite like living the day with Billy Martin.
Yeah. Great
Talk
education.
About, yeah, two ends of the spectrum. The Hall of Famer Bob Lemon. Completely different disposition, but they both got results. No balls, 2 strikes to Culver. Down in the zone where he wanted to be early. That's what Lockett is doing right now. Gave up, if you joined us late, 3 hits in the first. The first 3 batters he faced: Payton, Frazier, and then Parmalee a homer. 3-0, and that's the story of the ball game so far. Short lead for Cosmo.
Yeah, and actually the homer, for those that missed it, I mean, it was an off-speed pitch that Parmalee was well out in front, but it was just high enough where he can get enough barrel on it. Just looped it inside the fair pole down there in right field. So it isn't like he gave up a rocket in the gap anywhere. But he's sure gotten better since then.
Peeks over his shoulder at the runner at first. Here's the 2-2. Runner got going. That breaking ball on the corner for a strike. So Walter Lockett gets a strike to get out of the 4th inning. Lead still belongs to Scranton Wilkes-Barre, 3-0. Back in Memphis at AutoZone Park, a reminder for you, the Premier League is on NBCSN. It's a London derby as 2 of London's biggest houses will collide. Arsenal hosts Chelsea in that London derby. Coverage begins Saturday at 12 Eastern on NBCSN. Here at AutoZone, what a pleasant night. Temperature was in the early 90s earlier today. Summer's still here. A humid night, but a great crowd on hand at AutoZone Park. And in the 5th, it's a 3-0 lead that belongs to Scranton Wilkes-Barre. Here's Jose Rondon, the shortstop, hitting 7th in the order. Noonan will follow, then Bousfield. And we're trying to decide who will be the 2016 Gildan AAA National Champion of minor league baseball. It's a 1-game winner-take-all showdown between the winner of the PCL, the El Paso Chihuahuas, and the winner of the International League, the Governor's Cup champions, Scranton Wilkes-Barre Rail Riders. Rondon led off with a double in the 3rd inning, but was left stranded. That's slap foul. Montgomery back on the mound. Jordan so far so good, and we talked to him yesterday, and he talked about, you know, it's been working. I'm not going to mess with success. 5-1 since coming up to the AAA level. Here's his description of the experience he's had.
Baseball, honestly, I was just in a good routine, not overcomplicating anything, just throwing the ball and trying to be as aggressive as I can. Sometimes I get in the mindset of thinking the hitters are way better than they are, and when you think about it, they have to hit a little baseball that's moving. So, I mean, it's just my job to put it in there and change speeds and make it move and just make them hit it. So that was my mindset, and it worked.
Hey, Kitty, that sounds like he read it right the way you would write it for him.
That's, tape that, Yankees, and show it in Tampa during spring training, or show it to all pitchers. I mean, it doesn't always work, but it's the best approach. And like he said, sometimes, and this is true in all of baseball, I went through it, pitchers, you tend to give the hitters too much credit, and hitters give the pitchers too much credit. So like Jordan said, hey, round ball, round bats, tough to hit it square. You throw it in the strike zone with a little movement, you got a good chance to be successful.
2 balls, 2 strikes. The lefty delivering to Rondon. Looped in the air. Charging is Payton. He'll be there, and there's 1 away here in the 5th. Well, we'll decide tonight who will be the 2016 champion. Let's go back to 1966. What a year you had, Kitty. I mean, you talk about your career as a starting pitcher, and you did everything. But that year for you was just remarkable in 66, 25 wins. American League Pitcher of the Year. That was back then. They had only one Cy Young Award, and that guy, who's that guy for the Dodgers?
Koufax. That's the year they changed it.
Yeah.
Koufax got 27.
Fly ball left, going back. Payton at the wall, got it. John Manuel's down there. Johnny, you've had a chance to watch Jordan Montgomery a lot, and he's really come of age.
He has. You know, he was very poised as a freshman at South Carolina, pitched in the College World Series in Omaha when they were two-time defending champions. And the thing that stands out to me, and Jimmy, I'd love for you to talk a little bit about this, is the Yankees haven't developed a homegrown left-handed starter since Andy Pettitte, and historically lefties and the Yankees go very well together. Do you think he has a shot at being one of those, you know, I don't know if he's going to be Whitey Ford or Lefty Gomez, but can he be the next homegrown Yankees starter? Because they haven't done a left-hander in about 25 years.
I'll tell you next inning, John.
Big swing from Bows Field to right, and it's a 1-2-3 innings. Well, he's pitching like Whitey Ford tonight. Jordan Montgomery has a quick 1-2-3 fifth.
John Manuel back in Memphis, the AAA National Championship here with the manager of the El Paso Chihuahuas, Rod Barajas. Rod, the radar gun out in left field says 98 for some of Walker Lockett's pitches. Radar gun's probably a little juiced, but did he come out almost a little too juiced in that first inning?
I think he did. You know, he's a guy that relies on, you know, the movement with the fastball. I think he was just trying to do a little too much, throw a little too hard. Ball flattened out. He elevated some pitches and he made him pay. But he's good when he's, you know, working down in the bottom of the zone, and looked like he was a little amped up that first inning.
And it seems like he's settled in since then. And Jordan Montgomery certainly settled in for Scranton. What do you guys have to do to adjust to get to him?
Well, he's mixing up his pitches real good. You know, he slows you down, he speeds you up, slows you down. So, you know, he's got a good rhythm going right now. If we can break that rhythm, you know, try to get in good hitters counts, hopefully we can take advantage of some good fastballs to hit.
Thanks, Rod, and back up to George and to Jim.
Thanks, Johnny. And Kitty, you know, how important is it in these two clubs, Rod Barajas, a former catcher, how important is it as a young pitcher, a young catcher, to have a catcher as your manager at this level to translate the game to you?
Well, I'll give you a pretty good example, but wow.
A shot off Noonan's glove.
Yeah.
And he'll be safe at first. So a base hit by Jonathan Diaz, leadoff hitter on here in the fifth.
Yeah, nice play just to keep that ball from going past the first baseman there by Kivlahan. Hit well. Noonan got some leather on it, but couldn't make the play in the minor leagues. And I've told you this before. I pitched to the great old-timer Jack McKeon. He was my playing manager, and it had a real calming influence on having somebody back there that had a little more experience than you did as a 19-year-old kid.
Jack, of course, eventually got a World Series championship with the Florida Marlins, and every time you call him, you say, Jack, what are you doing? Just sitting by the phone, waiting for the call. I'm ready to manage again. What an enjoyable guy to be around, and he taught you a lot about the game, I know.
He sure did.
Short lead off first. From the stretch is Lockett, runner going. Sky down the left field line. Near the foul line there will be Kivlahan. He'll haul it in. The runner retreats to first. One away as Payton flies out. Payton singled in the first and scored on the homer. Bounced out and flies out here in the fifth inning. That'll bring up Clint Frazier. Frazier now singled part of that first inning 3-run effort.
When I mentioned he reminds me of Josh Donaldson, I think he must be a Donaldson fan. Watch this. See that little slow motion? I think it's the same thing that Donaldson does before his at-bats.
Frazier came up in the Cleveland organization, traded in the trade for the closer, Andrew Miller. And for him, it was kind of a rocket through the Cleveland organization. Surprised that he was traded, and when he came here, struggled, was 3 for 20 in the early going, and then pulled a hamstring, and has had not an easy start at the AAA level. But you talk to him, you get the feeling that this kid knows what he's doing.
Back to your comment about Jack McKeon and the advantage of having a catcher as a young pitcher, a catcher manager, even a veteran catcher. It's different today because of the pitch counts, but what Jack McKeon taught me is how to work out of jams late in the game. You know, you get a couple men on, sixth inning, you come, hey, figure out a way to get out of it. Try something different. And unfortunately, pitchers don't get to do that today because as soon as they get on a jam, somebody else comes in. If they were allowed to, I think pitchers would really show how much talent they have and how much better they could be and save a lot of bullpens.
Who are the veteran pitchers that helped you?
Camilo Pascual.
What a curveball he had.
Yeah, and actually on the other team, I went to Whitey Ford, showed me how to grip my fastball. Warren Spahn gave me some pitching lessons, and you know, we didn't have coaches at every level.
Yeah.
So when you got to the big leagues, you started to pick the brains of these guys that were successful up there.
2 balls, 1 strike, runner not going. That's fouled at the plate. Spahn still has probably the greatest description about pitching. You know, hitting is timing and pitching is disrupting timing.
Yeah, well, and the one thing he told me back in the 60s, we had a session in the bullpen. I was just in awe. Warren Spahn, he said, hey, kid, now let me tell you something. When the game's tied in the 7th inning, the game's just starting. You got to pitch Mickey Mantle differently in the 8th inning than you did in the 1st. Of course, nowadays with the Mariano Rivera's of the world, if you can just get 8 innings, you got a pretty good chance to win it.
2 balls, 2 strikes to Frazier. Down to third, but foul. You talk about 7th inning game just beginning. I mean, one of the greatest games of all time. It was Warren Spahn going against Juan Marichal. 16 innings, and Willie Mays hit a homer to win it in 16, and they both pitched the whole game.
Legendary game when I believe it was Alvin Dark that went to Marichal in about the 13th and said, have you had enough? And he said, the guy in the other dugout is 40 years old or more. If he's not coming out, I'm not.
That's how you pitch. Count holds it 2-2. Frazier spoils another pitch. Short lead down at first. Runner not going. Swing and a miss. He wanted that one.
Yeah, and that's well, I guess when you got a 3-0 lead, you try, but it's not really what you'd call your 2-strike make contact swing. Unfortunately for the Yankee organization, I saw a swing like that last week when I was doing a Yankee game. It was Aaron Judge, and he ended up going the rest of his season is over with a strained oblique.
Aaron Judge, Gary Sanchez, 2 guys, and there's a throw down to first back in time, and a good job by the first baseman to haul that one in. I mean, all those guys were here and wound up at the major league level. And Solano just went up this week at the end of the playoffs. Solano was on this club up until today's game. Made his major league debut and got a base hit. That's a little wide. Here's Parmalee in the 1st inning, a home run to right after fouling 4 off. He got all of this one, a high fly ball towards the berm and right, and that accounted for all 3 runs of the ball game thus far. Single by Payton, single by Frazier, and the Parmalee homer.
Left-hand hitters love that ball inside part of the plate, preferably between the knees and the thighs, where they can just kind of drop the barrel on it. And that's all he did.
Bounced into a double play his 2nd time up. High fly ball to left. Almost in his tracks is the left fielder. He'll haul it in. Kivlahan gets the final out. When we return, we'll talk to Al Pedrique, the manager of Scranton Wilkes-Barre.
John Manuel back here live in Memphis in the AAA National Championship. Here with Al Pedrique, the manager of the Scranton Wilkes-Barre team, champions of the International League. And Al, it makes it a lot easier, I guess, when you're a championship game to loosen up when you get a 3-run homer in the 1st.
Well, definitely help, especially for the starters. You got some, league to work with. Defensively, we've been solid the whole year. So anytime you jump ahead, it's a much better feeling.
Makes a loose ball club, obviously. Yeah. And then it also helps when you got 5 zeros from your starter. How long can Montgomery go? What are the bullpen plans when he comes out?
He can go as far as, he keeps getting people out. He's well rested, got about 5 days off, so he's fine. The bullpen is well rested, so we're going to use the bullpen according to the game situation.
Who would your closer be tonight?
Gil Gallego.
Well, we'll look forward to seeing him if Montgomery can hold this league. Thanks, Al. Back to George and Jim.
Thanks, John. Here's the lefty Jordan Montgomery back to work. Al Pedrique, veteran guy, he's won over 700 games in the minor leagues, been a coach at the major league level, and mentored Rod Barajas, the manager in the other dugout. When the year is over, he's heading back to Venezuela, where he's going to manage winter ball. Rod Barajas, there's a shot through the middle. That's a base hit from Margot. So Margot, a leadoff hit here in the 6th inning. Barajas, when the season is over, Rod's going to head home. He's got 8 kids, so he's looking forward
about that.
Home.
He's going to challenge Jim Bunning.
That's it, yeah.
I think Jim, of course, for those of you who don't know that name now, Hall of Fame right-hander. I think he has the former senator from Kentucky. He's got 9 or 10.
Yep, and he's got 39 grandchildren.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's great. I talked to Roddy. Homeschooled. They homeschooled out of those kids. Quite a family.
So leadoff hitters on against the lefty Montgomery, and here's the number 2 hitter, Carlos Eswaje. 0 for 2, fly ball out and a ground ball out. Double play depth, middle of the infield. There's a liner that's going to drop for a base hit, too. Rounding second, going to third will be Margot. So here we are, first and third, similar to the story of the 3rd inning when El Paso had first and third, nobody out, and 2 strikeouts and a ground out got Montgomery out of the jam. They'll get some action up in the bullpen for Pedrique.
As Al Pedrique told John, situation of the game, we'll let Montgomery go as long as he can get him out. And, right now, 2 quick hits. We're going to get that bullpen ready in a hurry.
That's Jonathan Barbato, who's loosening in the bullpen. So 2 on, nobody out, and here's Austin Hedges, fly ball out and a strikeout. Montgomery from the stretch, that's way high.
Johnny Barbato, who's loosening up out there, George, was in the big leagues earlier this year with the Yankees. Brief period of time. Hard thrower.
Yankees have plucked a lot of pitchers and a lot of position players from the Scranton Wilkes-Barre team in a year when they were in the race, they were out of the race, and now they're back in it again, trying to salvage a hunt for the wild card. In the dirt, runner does not advance from first, and it's 1-1. Hedges on the year, time and time again, came up with big hits for this Chihuahuas ball club. Solid behind the plate, solid with the bat as well. Hit over 300 for the year. Good speed on the bases. Slap foul the other way for Eswaje. 1 stolen base in the postseason for him. And for a big left-hander so far, looks like a fairly quick move to the plate from Montgomery.
Fluid delivery.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Slide step down and in for a ball.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be too concerned about the runner at first. I see Rod Barajas coaching at third, talking to his runner there, you know, saying the ball, anything on the ground, they're going to give up the run unless it's hit sharply right at them. But you wouldn't want to steel yourself into an out when you have the tying run at the plate.
Hit hard towards the hole. That's going to go through, and that'll get the Chihuahuas on the board. An RBI for Austin Hedges. In 82 games this year, he had 82 runs batted in. So add 1 here in the postseason. His 5th run batted into the postseason, and it's now 3-1 ball game.
Well, it might be an indication that the breaking ball's getting a little flat. You could see that was up about belt high. Most of Montgomery's better pitches have been down around the knees or even in the dirt, but fine effort by the young lefty to give him 5 1/3 or 5+ innings, and so far just allow 1 run.
Well, here comes the new pitcher. Jonathan Barbato will be on his way in. Good effort by Montgomery. We'll take time out for these messages. You're watching the Gildan AAA National Championship game. Today's coverage of the Gildan AAA National Championship game is being broadcast on AFN, the American Forces Network. We welcome the nearly 1 million men and women of the United States Armed Forces stationed around the globe in 175 countries and on the high seas. And as we always are, so proud of what you do and what you've done for our great country. Great to have you with us tonight. We hope you're enjoying the broadcast, and we wish you safe travel, safekeeping. There's Barbado to take over first and second.
Yeah, this could be an interesting at bat right here. He took a pitch. Renfroe questioned whether it was on the corner, but they've seen a lot of movement and off-speed pitches. Johnny Barbado is pretty much here it comes country hardball, hit it if you can. So we'll see with Renfroe's power what happens.
Great bat speed from Renfroe. He digs in one swing, can turn this game around in the dirt. Runners will hold. Great block by the catcher. Kyle Higashioka is a guy who has come a long way behind the plate, very solid, and he's been one of the keys not just to the offense of this ball club, but also one of the reasons why they're so outstanding defensively and in a pitching perspective. First and second. Here's the 1-1 delivery. Tries to check it. Did he? They'll appeal down to first. Nope, didn't go around.
Might have got by with one there. You know, Hunter Renfroe, he's got to relish this situation. Was telling us yesterday, first time his family's gotten a chance to come and watch him play. You know, they're from nearby Mississippi. He went to Mississippi State, so he's even though it's a neutral site for the Chihuahuas, he's got a lot of family here pulling for him and watching him.
2 on, nobody out. Down the right field line and foul. Rail Riders hoping for a twin killing with Barbado on the mound. Barbado, born in Miami, Florida. Originally a 6th round pick, signed by the Padres in 2010. Broken bat, looping down the left field line, curving. It will be caught. Great job by Peyton. Peyton, a speedy outfielder, did the job that takes Renfroe out of the batter's box and relieves the manager of the Rail Riders of a big gas, Al Pedrique. This is a great defensive break, a good first step. Speed does marvelous things.
Yeah, it's when a ball is hit like that, a broken bat, as an outfielder, sometimes you think it's going a little bit farther toward the warning track than it is. So that's a great read by Peyton to get over in foul territory, running right toward the wall.
Diminutive in size, but Peyton plays a little bit bigger than his body. Great competitor, great grinder.
I mean, now at this stage of the game, you go from pitchers to throwers. You know, there's not a lot of tricks when hard throwers like Barbado come out of the bullpen, gets it up there in the upper 90s.
Here's Kiblahan lined out and single. Swing and a miss, and it's 0-2.
First breaking ball he's thrown in there, and that was a good one.
All hands on deck for both these managers. It's a one-game winner-take-all championship, so what they need they'll use. There is no tomorrow. Starters or relievers all eligible here tonight. A little giddy up off speed on that one. Had him velocitized and locked up, and there's out number 2.
A pretty good mix there by Johnny Barbado. He made the Yankees out of spring training. I watched him pitch a couple games in New York. It was he really didn't get any of his off-speed pitches over consistently, which kept him from staying in the big leagues, but 2 good ones in that sequence.
Here's the DH Nick Torres, 0 for 2, struck out twice against Jordan Montgomery, and Montgomery sitting in the dugout hoping that this right-hander can clean up the mess that he left. If he can, it keeps the Rail Riders in control. Fastball misses up a little high. That's where he'll be with his fastball, 89 or 90 at the best. This bullpen's been outstanding for the Rail Riders. Their ERA under 3 as a team in the International League. That's unbelievable.
Well, the difference in the two leagues for years, this is going back to when it was the Hollywood Stars and the LA Angels, Joe DiMaggio, San Francisco Seals. Coast League was known more as a hitters league. International League, being in the Northeast, colder weather start the year, always was known more of as a pitchers league versus the Coast League.
And it still is.
Yeah.
Got in on him, popped up. What a job by Barbado. He strands 2 runners. 1 run scores. Good job by Jordan Montgomery. 5+ strong innings. Barbado completes it. We'll visit with Branch Rickey of the PCL after these messages.
It's 3-1 Scranton in the bottom of the 6th inning here in the AAA National Championship game. I'm John Manuel, joined by Branch Rickey III, president of the Pacific Coast League, and Branch, Pacific Coast League team hosting this year here with the Memphis Redbirds. A pretty special moment for this franchise, where they've been and the bounce back year they've had. What does that mean to the PCL for this franchise to kind of come back to the forefront?
You know, when they threw their hat in the ring, I think we were surprised because Memphis was rebounding off of a few bad years. And to see the turnout here tonight and to see the energy in this crowd for a team from El Paso and a team from Scranton, Wilkes-Barre, this is a wonderful turnout. And I think a real feather in the cap for not only the Memphis Redbirds, but for Memphians in general.
Now, AAA baseball in September, this playoff baseball, this atmosphere is a little bit different, and that's kind of seems like what the national championship game has brought to AAA in September. What's the future of this game, and how satisfied are you guys with the way it's developed over the last 15 years?
Well, you know, each of the leagues play the best of 5 in the first round of the playoffs, then the best of 5 in the second round. So playing a one-game championship is such an anomaly and kind of new, but you know what? When the players come into town, the managers and coaches come into town, the staff, everybody, it is exciting. It's different. I mean, it's just a breath of fresh air, and we realize that we're having fun and we're playing baseball. It's September. What more can you want?
Absolutely. Branch, great seeing you here again. We'll see you post-game for the trophy presentation. Now we'll go back up to George and Jim.
Thanks, John. And of course, the PCL has been dominating in recent years in this game. Our thanks. There's a bouncer down to short. Rondon, quick flip, and there's one away. Higashioka retired for the first out of the 6th, and here's Daniel Moscos, who takes over. A veteran guy has been around. Back in 2007, a draft pick, 10 years bouncing around minor league baseball and also independent baseball, and he's back at AAA.
If you're a lefty, you can throw it over. Don't give up. If you can maybe even drop down a little bit, sidearm, 30 years old, played some independent ball, hasn't been in pro ball for a few years, but seize the opportunity. You never know what can happen.
There's Jake Cave. Cave singled in the first inning and bounced to short. Our thanks to Branch Rickey and Dwight Hall from the PCL, of course, Randy Mobley and Chris Sprague from the International League, and Pat O'Connor's here, the president of minor league baseball, and Tim Brunswick, people that have helped make this another great year in minor league baseball. And Branch alluded to the fact that was an expansion year in 1998. Memphis had never been a AAA team, and they've made believers of a lot of people. Beautiful ballpark, great fan base here. Hit hard through the left side. Cave continues his hot hitting. He was the MVP of the championship series, hit over 300 there.
Good job. Gave no ground against the left-hand pitcher. Took it the other way.
Now, little things, you know, you talk about mechanics as a pitcher, and the hitting coach Tom Wilson on this Scranton Wilkes-Barre club got Jake Cave back after he came back from the Reds through the minor leagues, and you look at his approach a little different. He's got that leg kick. Are you a believer in the leg kick for hitters, or you think that sometimes it can create problems?
Yeah, I think certainly it's a power source. I think the best example is when Kirby Puckett came up with the Minnesota Twins. He hit single-digit home runs first year. Said to my former teammate Tony Oliva, should be Hall of Famer, you know, what can I do? Tony said, let's go to the leg kick. I think he hit 30 the next year. So it does generate some power. From a pitcher standpoint, it gives you a chance to change speeds and throw the timing off, because once that hitter picks up his leg, he can't really stop his momentum. So he's much more susceptible to missing an off-speed pitch. You can destroy his timing, but it certainly generates a lot of power for a hitter.
The lefty from the stretch, 1 ball, 1 strike with the runner on at first. And I would concur. I mean, I've always believed that Tony Oliva is one of those that belongs in the Hall of Fame, and you belong on that list too, Kitty. 283 victories, 4 decades of baseball, 16 Gold Gloves, and the best should be in the Hall of Fame. Tony Oliva deserves it, and you're right there. You're a Hall of Famer, period.
Right,
on the field and off.
I appreciate that, but the good thing is that I'm now in my 58th year of the Hall of Enjoyment.
Amen.
And that's being around baseball.
You mentioned Sumter, South Carolina, and Bobby Richardson. I remember a talk that Bobby gave when I was in college saying, men, we want you to be in the Baseball Hall of Fame, but I want you to be in God's Hall of Fame when it's all said and done.
Yeah.
What a great man, Bobby Richardson. There's a foul ball popped to the left side and out of play. Mike Ford, the designated hitter, up from Double-A. If you're just joining us, George Grant, Jim Cott, John Manuel. This is the 2016 Gildan AAA National Championship game. A 1-game winner-take-all playoff between those guys in the black uniforms, the El Paso Chihuahuas, winners of the PCL. That breaking ball just misses. And the Governor's Cup winners of the International League, the Scranton Wilkes-Barre Rail Riders. One of these teams will be the champions of minor league baseball, AAA baseball.
I would think he'd send the runner here. 3-2.
Good speed. Not going. And it's ball 4.
Didn't have to.
Hey, don't forget the chase is on NBCSN with only 2 chances left to make it to the round of 12. NASCAR's best battle it out in Loudon. The chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup continues in New Hampshire next Sunday at 1:30 Eastern on NBCSN. Hey, you live in Vermont. You could take a drive over there. Kitty Cat, now a Vermont native. Well, that'll be it. The left-hander will exit. Pitching change take place. We'll take time out for these messages. You're watching the Gildan AAA National Championship game. The 2016 AAA National Championship on NBCSN is brought to you by Gildan, official national partner of AAA baseball. Gildan, every thread counts. By On Deck, a leading provider of small business loans nationwide. Visit OnDeck.com to see how On Deck can take your business to the next level. And by FedEx, solutions that matter. Welcome back. Right next to the historic Peabody Hotel to AutoZone Park here in Memphis. 3rd pitcher of the night. Walter Lockett went 5 innings, 7 hits, 3 runs. Daniel Moscos, a 3rd of an inning. He exits after a walk and a base hit. And here's the Nielsen Lamet, who will take over. 6'4", a long, lanky right-hander.
Yeah, Bronswell Patrick, their pitching coach, said we're going to see this guy. 6'4", 180-pound, lean and mean. Out of the Dominican with a live arm.
He's facing the shortstop, Pete Cosma's 1 for 2, a single. We talk about what Hedges has meant in the development of his ball club. Say the same thing for Cosma. He's helped the young players evolve, been solid defensively. And while he won't hit a lot, he'll come up with some big hits for you. That was certainly true of when he's had a stint with the Cardinals into the postseason. 2 balls, no strikes. 7th spot in the order.
Good opportunity right here. You fall behind 2-0. You're looking fastball. You got a couple men on. He's got the ability to poke it the other way.
Breaking ball clips the corner for a strike. Al Pedrique coaching in the coach's lines at 3rd, flashes his signs. with the 2 runners. 2 balls, 1 strike with 1 out. Middle of the infield double play depth. Hit pretty good right center field. Margot is there. Runner tagging at second, on the way to third. Here comes the throw. It'll come all the way in, not nearly in time. And Jake Cave with good speed advances from second to third. Good base running decision for the speedy Cave, and it's first and third with 2 away.
Yeah, good judgment. You think about that before the ball is hit, because you don't want to make the third out at third base. So when he saw the ball to right center field, it means that center fielder has a little longer to throw, got a good jump, and made it quite easily.
Here's a number 8 hitter, Cito Culver, bounced out, struck out 0 for 2. Hedges rolls through his signs. The big righty to the stretch, first and third. Fouled off for strike 1.
He wanted that one back. Anytime you see a ball go straight back, it probably just glanced off the top of the bat, but they were right on time. You know, he wasn't behind, he wasn't ahead, but that's maybe where that little bit of late giddy up.
Long, lanky motion, and he hides the ball pretty well. He kind of gives you the turn, a little bit of a turn, and all of a sudden, zippo, it's on you.
I saw very few pitchers come out of the Dominican, several who I played with, that didn't have live arms. Joaquin Andujar, of course, Mario Soto, who I coached in Cincinnati, another example.
The ball's 2 strikes to Culver. And who was that other guy, Pedro?
Pedro Martinez. Yeah.
Bigger than his body, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And you and I both knew his brother Ramon, who was just a great mentor for so many young pitchers. And Dave Wallace was the minor league pitching coordinator for the Dodgers. He said, don't get rid of Pedro. He's going to be fine. They didn't think he was big enough to win at the major league level. Pedro went all the way to the Hall of Fame. Here's the 1-2.
He probably will be the last pitcher under 6 feet to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. Pedro at 5'11".
Unless he has kids, right?
Yeah.
You know, there's the funny thing. They say 5'11". He's probably closer to 5'9", 5'10", but Ramon was like 6'2", 6'3".
Yeah.
One ball, 2 strikes, first and third. Swing and a miss. Well, it's a bullpen game from here on out. Final out of the inning. The lead still held on to by Scranton, 3-1. On the berm in Memphis. What a picture-perfect night for baseball. Good crowd on hand here at AutoZone Park. Memphis hosting the 2016 Gildan AAA National Championship game. Lead belongs to Scranton Wilkes-Barre, 3-1, and it happens every year. Kitty, we come here and there's always one guy, especially usually a pitcher, who helps mentor so many of the young pitchers and gets a chance to pitch. He's been a starter, a middle guy, a closer, and the end result is he's helped his club big time, and that's what Phil Koch has done for this club.
Yeah, 2 World Series rings. You know, he was with the Yankees. He was with the Tigers. 34 years old, trying to work his way back to the big leagues. Always had a good live arm.
Originally signed by the Marlins way back in 2001 and has made his way through the major leagues. Scranton Wilkes-Barre out of the bullpen as a starter as well. Started 22 of 25 games with Trenton as well. Missed all of 2013. Had bone spurs in his left elbow, and he's back, and he is your, you know, like you said, you're lefty, you can pitch for a long time.
Yeah.
Example. Here's Jose Rondon. Double to lead off the third, was left stranded and fly to left. Bouncer. Koch, if he gets it, has a play. He does. Nobody else would have had to play. Nice job by Koch.
Yeah, nice footwork. Well, he didn't get credited for saves, but I think the year the Tigers won, he may have gotten the last out in 3 of the 4 games that they won. Good reaction there, back of the mound. Take your time, got plenty of, don't hurry it. Made a nice, got his feet under, made a nice accurate throw.
Kitty, you pitched to age 45, and in the, not just you did it your whole career, but towards the end, you spent so much time. I watched you mentor young pitchers. It's a game of passing it on, isn't it?
It was so much fun, particularly the year we won the World Series, 1982, with young pitchers like John Stuper, who John has now been the head baseball coach at Yale for years. Dave LaPointe, left-hander. And, you know, like you mentioned earlier, I was fortunate to have guys like Camilo, and even though he wasn't a teammate, guys like Whitey Ford, Warren Spahn, and the pitchers have always kind of stuck together and tried to help one another out. And it's fun to do that, particularly when you see the results.
Nick Noonan, the third baseman, singled and flied out. Swing and a miss there.
Wow, 96.
I'm not sure about this radar gun tonight.
Yeah. I'm not sure about a lot of them. Phil, I'll give you a cute story about why I don't like him in a minute, or I don't trust him.
We ought to take a picture of it for Phil anyways.
Yeah. Well, when I was with the Cardinals, Charlie Gelati used to clock the pitches behind home plate, and I think I was 43 at the time when I came in, and he came around the tunnel. He said, called me down. He said, I had you at 92 that inning. I said, Charlie, throw it in the trash can. I can't drive 92.
1 ball, 2 strikes. That's pop foul and out of play. You know, sometimes the radar gun can be beneficial, but those times aren't that frequent, are they?
I noticed if the pitch speed, I mean, you mentioned the bone spurs, and maybe he's come back now where he, you know, sometimes you have surgery, so obviously you're not pitching. Your arm recovers a little bit. Now he's coming back with a little more velocity than he had probably during his prime.
1-2. Swing and a miss. Way out in front of the breaking ball. There's strikeout number 1, out number 2. And here's Austin Bousfield.
Well, that's the picture-perfect way for a lefty to get a lefty. You use that good live fastball to get ahead, and then the breaking ball from that first base angle, so difficult for a lefty to pick up and also difficult for him to hold up, so you don't have to throw it in the strike zone.
So Koch trying to get a clean 7th inning. He joined us late. Jordan Montgomery went 5+ innings, 6 hits and a run, struck out 5, didn't walk a batter, had a 3-0 lead, left leading 3-1. Barbado came in with 2 runners on and had a 1-2-3 appearance to end the 6th. And here's Koch in the 7th, facing the number 9 hitter. Bousfield fouls it down the right field line and into the seats. If you've never been in Memphis, you see where that ball went. This park kind of reminds you of Cleveland, the old Jacobs Field. Now it's been changed, of course, with the way they've changed things around, but the luxury boxes are similar down each foul line. Seats about 10,000. Very comfortable ballpark. Wide a third. Cito takes care of it, and it's a 1-2-3 inning for Koch. Great job by Phil Koch. Welcome back to AutoZone Park in Memphis, where the Scranton Wilkes-Barre Rail Riders are leading 3-1 over El Paso Chihuahuas here in the Gildan AAA National Championship game. And a reminder for you, Saturday the Fighting Irish take on the Blue Devils in South Bend. Duke Notre Dame Saturday at 3:30 Eastern, only on NBC. Great to have you with us on NBC SN tonight. Very festive night here in the Music City. Great crowd on hand in this 10,000 seat ballpark in the downtown area. If you haven't been to Memphis in a while, Kitty, and you haven't been here in a while, it's kind of great to come back and see the rebirth of the downtown area, isn't it?
1959, when the Chattanooga Lookouts was my team. Memphis Chicks, short for Chickasaws, was the last time I was here in Memphis. But so many cities around the country, big league and minor league, have benefited from downtown facilities.
Jonathan Diaz leading it off here in the 7th. Very often, sport facilities can help lead a rebirth in an old town, an old community, not just a big city.
Like in Cleveland.
Yep. And it's really true in minor league baseball. Right? It's 41 million plus fans every year trek to minor league parks around the country, and so many people that have been so much a part of minor league baseball for so many years have stuck with franchises that have had good years and bad years. Fly ball to right center field. Margot is there, and there's one away. By the way, while we're talking about great people who have been part of minor league baseball, I want to send best wishes to two guys who are really part of the very fiber of minor league baseball. In Indianapolis, Max Schumacher has been under the weather a little bit. Max, looking forward to seeing you at the ballpark and hopefully at the winter meetings this year. Always a legendary. And Dave Rosenfield from
Tidewater.
Norfolk, Tidewater.
Sure.
Two guys that are legends. Both of them some 50 years in the game of baseball, and they've lived with minor league baseball through the lean years and the strong years. And their families have been so much of an integral part of the game. We look forward to seeing you guys soon on the road. There's Mark Payton with one away. Payton singled in the first, later scored on the Parmalee home run, bounced out and flied out, and really that hit was big, but maybe the biggest play he made was when he raced to the line in the left field corner on a fly ball off the bat of Hunter Renfroe. If he doesn't get it, this game is completely different because there are two runners on, and it probably would have scored two. We may have a tie game right now. Illinois native digs in. Here's the big right-hander delivering, and it's fouled off.
One of the biggest changes, people say to me, what's changed in the game? Obviously money. But corner outfielders with speed.
Yeah.
You know, speed on both sides of the ball now. Years ago, your corner outfielders were guys that hit home runs, like Jim Lemon used to say, you know one way to play the outfield? Swing that bat. and now you have guys like Payton who can save runs for you as well as swing the bat.
Well, the two marquee players that we're talking about in this game, Hunter Renfroe, one right fielder, and Frazier, the other right fielder, both have speed that is productive offensively and speed that's productive defensively. They're complete packages.
Yeah, I was fortunate to be a part of the 1982 Cardinal World Series team, and one of the biggest factors in us winning that year, Lonnie Smith, who a lot of people don't think was a good defensive outfielder. He cut more balls off that would have been doubles to hold him to singles, and then you get the ball to hit to Ozzie Smith and it's a double play. And those don't show up in the box score, but they show up in a World Series ring.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Lament to the stretch with Payton at the plate. There's a bouncer wide of first. Lamet will cover the bag. He'll get there and beats him by half a step. There's 2 away. Well, these 2 right fielders are 2 of the premier players in the game. And John Manuel, you've been with us all night. You cover college baseball, minor league baseball all season long. They are 2 of the best players that we're waiting to see make it to the major league level, aren't they?
I'm on. There we go. You know, the big thing to me, guys, is how much do they get to their power? How much will they get to their... They both have, 70 raw power on the 2080 scouting scale. To me, it's a matter of how much their hit tool allows them to get to that power tool. With Hunter Renfroe, he has more home runs than strikeouts this year. That's usually not going to get it done. You're going to have to be a little bit more patient against higher caliber pitchers in the big leagues. And with Clint Frazier, I think you hit on it, Jimmy, before. It's going to be that lower half, and you talked about him being kind of like a Josh Donaldson. People have been trying to change Josh Donaldson his whole career until he broke out in Oakland. He was a third baseman, he was a catcher, but also people tried to tamp down that pre-swing movement. And I think Clint Frazier talked to us yesterday about trying to find that right mix of that leg kick and producing that power while not drifting too much and keeping his head in there and not being overly robotic and mechanical at the plate either. When you're this muscular as he is, there's going to be a little stiffness to your game, and that's one of the consistent complaints that scouts have had about him, that he's just going to have to loosen up a little bit more. And he talked about 5% body fat yesterday. You can see it. He's a lean, mean carrot top machine in there.
Thanks, John. Here's Clint Frazier. Part of that first inning rally, a single to left. He scored on the homer by Parmalee. Struck out his last time up. And here it's 1 ball and 2 strikes. You know, he came up after the trade. Was it in the minor leagues and about ready to come up in the Cleveland organization. They did not want to trade him, but they had the chance to get Andrew Miller, not just for this year, but for a couple of years, and be the closer that they needed. And sometimes you have to trade a premier prospect like this to get what you need, and it looks like the Indians are heading to the postseason with a pretty good bullpen.
When you get your opportunities now because of free agency and player movement, the same team doesn't win every year like the Yankees used to do. So when you have that opportunity, you have to kind of extend yourself and try to go for it.
Did he go around? Yes, he did. So it's a 1-2-3 inning for Lamet. 3-1 lead still belongs to Scranton Wilkes-Barre. Margot will lead it off and we retune. 3 in the first on a Chris Parmalee home run, and Scranton Wilkes-Barre Rail Riders are hanging on to a 3-1 lead here in the Gildan AAA National Championship game. Time for a Gildan defensive play of the game. And talk about Mark Payton, it was a big one. 3 straight hits in the 6th inning, and with the premier player Hunter Renfroe at the plate, he tracks this one down the line for the defensive play of the night that got Renfroe out of the batter's box, gave the Rail Riders their first out of the inning, and Barbado claps his hand and said thank you very much. Barbado then followed with a strikeout and a pop-up. They were out of the inning. A turning point in this ball game, Kitty.
Yeah, sure was. Actually, watching him shag that down reminded me of watching the parent club New York Yankees and seeing Brett Gardner do same thing. Looked a lot like him.
Great speed for Gardner. Here's Margot, 1 for 3, singled his last time up after striking out and flying out. Long run, Frazier, and he overran it. And is he okay as he slams into the wall?
Yeah, easy to do. Sometimes the ball heading down in that corner kind of drifts back toward fair territory. You're running full bore. Quick look at the wall, then try to stop yourself, and it drifted back out of reach for Frazier.
You could see the athletic ability of the right fielder there, and you know, he did spend some time on the DL at AAA after he came over, pulled a hamstring, and it's been something that still bothers him a little bit. He's okay though, and ready to go. Here's the 1-1.
Wow.
Looked like a strike?
Yeah, I did. The Coke took he looked in and stopped it. I said the same thing. I said, boy, where's that pitch? Of course, the umpires haven't had a chance to call many of them tonight. Everybody's been swinging.
Everybody's swinging. There's a big swing and a pop up to the right side. Jonathan Diaz under it. He'll haul it in, and there's your first out of the 8th inning. The Chihuahuas are running out of outs, but hey, these are 2 teams that have had remarkable comebacks and strange endings to ball games, so you never know when these teams get together.
It's going according to form for the Rail Riders. Tommy Phelps, our pitching coach, said yesterday, you know, we get some innings out of Montgomery. We get to the end of the game, it's the veteran Coke, and then in the 9th we're going to see Giovanni Gallegos, who's pitched at a few different levels, and he's been their closer all the time he's been here. Hard thrower.
Here's Carlos Eswaje, lined out, bounced out, and singled. Chihuahuas have had a couple of good opportunities in the 3rd. A leadoff double by Rondon and a single by Noonan. 2 on, nobody out. But then 2 strikeouts and a ground out. Montgomery got out of the jam. In the 6th, single by Margot, a single by Eswaje, and then a single by Hedges, and it was a 3-run ball game. But then Barbado came in and took care of business, and here Coke takes care of business, and there's 2 away.
Looks like he wants to pitch his way back to the big leagues. I mean, his fastball is and control. Watch the catcher's glove. Never had to move it.
You know, you had a feeling, you knew that Al Pedrique was going to get him in tonight because of what he's meant to this club, and it's great to see him perform the way he's performing thus far after what he's meant to this club all year long. Big swing and a fly ball down the right field line. Frazier over, foul territory. This one he'll track down. Thank you very much. 1, 2, 3 in the 8th. Bottom of 8 we go. Parmalee homeward leads it off. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of AAA Baseball and the National Association of Professional Baseball Leagues Incorporated. It's intended solely for the private non-commercial use of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of AAA Baseball and the National Association of Professional Baseball Leagues está prohibida, is prohibited. Great to have you with us, George Grand, Jim Cott, John Manuel. Let's go back, Kitty, to when this night started and your keys to the game, your AutoZone keys to the game as this game is unfolded.
Well, we talked about which pitcher's going to shine early, both young pitchers, and obviously it was Montgomery. And then El Paso, who's got a great hitting team, led the minor leagues in home runs. The old saying, does good pitching beat good hitting? And so far tonight, the Rail Riders pitching has contained them.
Well, the Rail Riders got 3 in the first, and that's vaulted them to the lead. Mark Payton singled in the first. Clint Frazier singled, and then Chris Parmalee drilled a 3-run home run. And Parmalee comes up here in the 8th inning, and what a night he's had. The 3-run home run gave the club a 3-0 lead. He bounced into a double play, fly deep to left, and here's a base hit in the 8th inning.
Yeah, that's a pretty good swing right there. First time you see a guy lefty with a very unusual motion right over the top. Glove comes at you. Never flinched. Again, lefties love that ball down in the zone.
Kyle McGrath, the new pitcher, the lefty, delivers for a base hit. Higashioka, the catcher, up for the 4th time. 2 fly balls and a ground ball out to the catcher for the Rail Riders. Here's McGrath, 1 appearance in the postseason, an inning and 2/3. Both these bullpens have performed well in the postseason. 6'2", 185 pounds, a lanky left-hander. Short lead for Parmalee down at first. Almost gives you that pitching machine delivery.
Yeah. Don't see many pitchers with single digit. I did a game in Yankee Stadium a short while back. The phenomenal young lefty for the Dodgers, Julio Urias, young 20-year-old from Mexico. He wears number 7.
Down to third, but foul. Jake Cave in the on-deck circle for the Rail Riders. I want to congratulate Al Padrique on the great year he's had. He was the manager of the year in the International League. Just a brilliant year. The MVP came from the Scranton Wilkes-Barre club as well. Van Gammel, but he was traded to Seattle.
He's not even here anymore.
Not even here. On to Seattle for some minor leaguers. Those that made the International League All-Star team at the end of the year included Gary Sanchez from Scranton Wilkes-Barre, and what a start he's had at the major league level. Donovan Solano made it. Aaron Judge made it. A banner year for the Rail Riders. 2-2. That's low. We'll go full 3-2.
Well, let's see if Al Padrique, nobody out, see if he trusts the hitter to make contact right here, sends a runner. You know, you have a 2-run lead with Renfroe coming up to lead off the inning. You have a little cushion there, but you'd always like to add a run or 2 late, give that reliever a little cushion.
Higashioka, good handler of the bat, big hole on the right side of the infield. Runner not going, and it's slap foul.
That's in keeping with the game in general, I think, today. Even on the big league level, you see an example is Joe Girardi, the manager of the Yankees. Joe stole 10 bases, I think, early in '96, his first year there. The Yankees ran a lot. Nowadays, it's pretty much station to station. On the big league level, a lot of walks, a lot of strikeouts, a lot of home runs.
Try it again, 3-2. Runner not going. That's down and in, ball 4. So a base hit and a walk. Of course, Torrey had just come over from the National League.
Yeah, and he had Zim as his pitcher.
And he had Zim.
Right.
Zim put runners in motion with the bases loaded a couple of times.
Yep. Yeah, he had a good influence on him.
Pep talk from his catcher. Austin Hedges out to try to settle down the lefty Kyle McGrath. they can ill afford any more runs on the board. And here comes Cave. Jake today singled in the first, bounced to short, and then singled to left. So 2 for 3.
Going to leave McGrath in there to try to take care of the lefties, and then Rod Barajas has a righty warming up.
Show and bunt. That's a strike. Throw down, and they got the runner caught between second and third. They'll tap him out for the first out of the inning. Well, important add-on runs. The base running mistake by Parmalee out at second. Bunt never down.
Boy, it sure was. You, as a base runner, you get a little walking lead, but you have to make sure that ball's on the ground before you commit like that. And Chris Parmalee runs him right out of what could be a big inning. Well executed by the Chihuahuas. You run the runner back to the base from which he came, and then you freeze the runner at first at the same time, keep the double play in order, just like they work on in spring training.
2 to 6 to 5. Here's a big swing and a fly ball to left center field. Under it is Margot, and there's your second out of the inning. So now, instead of a successful sacrifice, runners at second and third, the end result is now 2 outs and a runner sitting at first. You know, we talk a lot about the ability of a defensive team to execute. It often starts on the mound, but also behind the plate. And John, you know, when we talked with Al Pedrique and we talked with Rod Barajas, of course, sang the praises of Hedges, and Hedges showed you why on that play.
Yeah, you know, this was a guy signed for $3 million out of high school. He was a significant priority for the Padres organization, and he was in the major leagues virtually of 2015. Only got about 146 at bats in the big league, so he exhausted his rookie eligibility, but basically was a backup all year in the big leagues last year. So he's come back to AAA, spent the whole year here. He's taken another step in his offensive game with the power. Really came to the fore this year. But a consistent 3-hole hitter, and oh, by the way, he's got a plus arm, and he really handles pitchers very well. So this is a guy who for 4 or 5 years has been seen as a potential building block for the Padres. I think he's on the cusp of doing that at the big league level next year, guys.
Here's the DH, Mike Ford. Hit deep to center field. Back is Margot. Backpedaling at the warning track. He'll haul it in. A promising inning goes by the boards. A runner stranded. Still 3-1 lead for Scranton Wilkes-Barre.
The 2016 AAA National Championship on NBC-SN is brought to you by Gildan, official national partner of AAA baseball. Gildan, every thread counts. And by ServiceMaster. Protect your home base with ServiceMaster. Learn more at servicemaster.com.
Great to have you with us. 3 runs, 9 hits, no errors for Scranton Wilkes-Barre. The El Paso Chihuahuas still hoping to close that gap as we head to the 9th inning. Here's the new pitcher. By the way, if you joined us late, Jordan Montgomery started 5+ innings, 6 hits, only 1 run allowed. He pitched great. The bullpen has been outstanding. And speaking of bullpen, the guy who comes in has been nails for Al Pedrique and the Rail Riders.
Yeah, George, he's a bit like Hector Rondon of the Cubs before Chapman took over there. He's not a specialty one-pitch pitcher. He's got fastball, good sharp breaking ball. Changes speeds.
Giovanni Gallegos out of Mexico, and he's really nailed down this bullpen for Al Pedrique. And he's one of those guys, John Manuel, that when you look ahead to next year, the question is, will he have a shot at the major league level?
Well, I think he does. And the Yankees, you know, every team uses so many guys in their bullpen these days, 6th, 7th, 8th inning roles. If you can locate your breaking ball and make a power hitter like Renfroe look like he just did back-to-back, I think you're going to make a chance at a big league role. He also has real life on the fastball, Kitty. Take a look at that. If he throws a fastball here, it's 91 to 95, but with a real sink and tail on that fastball. And the life is what separates that pitch.
No balls, 2 strikes against Hunter Renfroe, who's 0 for 3. 3 fly balls. That's hit down the third base line, but foul. Key points in this ball game. Renfro in the 6th inning, and Barbado came in to get him. And here in the 9th, trying to start a rally. Gallegos is trying to silence the big bat of the right fielder from the Chihuahuas. Big 1 2/3 strong innings for Gallegos against Gwinnett in the championship series. Backhanded, long throw. Cosmo. Wow. Boy, that shows you
big
the kind of defense that he brings to this club, doesn't it?
That's just great execution. Man. Made it look easy. And to John's point, John, as we take a look again at the ground ball that Pete Cosmo, the way he just played it flawlessly. It's one thing if you have a Mariano Rivera. You see Cosmo again with a strong throw to get that first out with one pitch that he can dominate with, but it makes it a little more difficult for the hitter late in the game when you have a guy that has a little variety with 3 or 4 pitches in movement.
Kind of looks a little bit like Mariano standing there, doesn't he? There's a fly ball left center field. Tivlehan flies out for out number 2. So running out of outs are the Chihuahuas. By the way, the attendance tonight, 9,471 here in Memphis. This game, the championship game, has now passed 100,000 fans since its inception in 2006. And that's a great testament to all of the cities that have hosted it. Memphis, the most recent, and they've done a great job the last couple of days making everyone welcome. But 2 away here in the 9th. Here's Nick Torres, the designated hitter. Torres tonight, strikeout, and pop-up. Well, would the big hitting team or the big pitching team win? And so far, it's a 3-1 lead for the team that has been one of the best pitching teams in minor league baseball all year long, Kitty. You live by the word that good pitching beats good hitting. Yeah, it's been your career.
You know, and if you're Walker Lockett, you look at how many pitches were thrown in the game tonight. I don't know. They've been economical, but let's just say 225 between the 2 teams. And Walker Lockett is saying, if I could just have that one pitch back. You know, a little ball down the right field line. That's been the difference in the game.
That's a bloop down the right field line. Here comes Frazier. Got it, and that'll do it. Well, it's the Rail Riders who will celebrate here in Memphis a long, long season of baseball. And tonight, Clint Frazier and the rest of his teammates can say, we are the champions of 2016. Scranton Wilkes-Barre defeats the El Paso Chihuahuas to win the 2016 Gildan AAA National Championship game. What a night, what a year, what a moment for those guys, Kitty.
Yeah, and I think it's appropriate. The team won 91 games. Granted, they had a different cast of characters all year, but again, with a good hitting team like El Paso, and the pitching staff shut them down, and Parmalee got the one hit. They made some sterling plays on defense. It wasn't a difficult game for the guys in the field, and it all came down to this last out.
And Frazier shows you his speed, shows you his ability. I got to believe, though, that his teammates are saying, what did you do with the baseball? That's our championship ball.
Well, congratulations to the franchise. You know, they had a great year. I'm sure the fans up there were watching in Scranton Wilkes-Barre, and they paid it off with a great pitching performance tonight with Jordan Montgomery, and then great guys coming in from the bullpen to shut it down.
Well, they've had great championships in Scranton Wilkes-Barre. Great managers, Dave Miley, Mark Bombard, Lee Elia, John Russell have all been managers of the year, and Al Pedrique joins that list in this year. And after winning the Governor's Cup, they bring the International League, the championship here in Memphis, and it ends a string of victories for the PCL. Last year, Fresno beat Columbus. And after Omaha won 2 straight, the victory here for the International League Governor's Cup champions. Look at Pedrique hugging his young outfielder. Whole lot more smiles, whole lot more moments to remember of this 2016 season when we return to Memphis. Now, Memphis is the music city right now for the Rail Riders. It's the fireworks city. 3 runs, 9 hits, no errors for Scranton Wilkes-Barre, for the El Paso Chihuahuas, 1 run, 6 hits, and no errors. Boy, they're giving you
A darn good fireworks display to celebrate the 2016 Gildan AAA National Championship victory by the Scranton Wilkes-Barre Rail Riders. 28 seasons of baseball in the International League. They've had some tremendous years. This will be one of the biggest and most memorable, Kitty, because they won 91 games, more than anybody else in minor league baseball, and their 92nd win will maybe be the most memorable of the season.
Wow, no question. And I think great credit to Al Padrique, because you know, it's not easy managing a team where your roster changes almost every week. You know, he had a lot of players that he depended on, got called up to the major leagues, and all through it all, he kept that good atmosphere in the clubhouse and ends up with a championship.
A lot of hugs, a lot of smiles, and right down in the middle of it is John Manuel. John, down to you.
Thanks, gentlemen. We're here on NBC Sports Network. First of all, thank you, Memphis, for doing a great job as host of the AAA National Championship. That's the easiest applause line in AAA baseball, right, Randy? I'm here with Randy Mobley of the International League. And Randy, why don't you go ahead and present the championship trophy to our 2016 AAA National Champions.
Thanks, John. First of all, I'd like to congratulate the El Paso Club. A great season, Pacific Coast League champions. Fabulous season to be playing this late into September. Memphis, thank you for being such fabulous hosts to us all the last couple of days. We've been delighted to be here. We've had a wonderful time. The Scranton Wilkes-Barre Club has been the best club in all of AAA baseball all season long. So it's only fitting that they're here. Manager Al Padrique, if you and your club come on up here. Mr. Rob Packard, Vice President of Marketing for Gildan, and I, happy to present this championship trophy to Al Padrique and his Scranton Wilkes-Barre Rail Riders.
All right, gentlemen, we're not quite done with hardware here, guys.
It's been a very good season for the Rail Riders, and I appreciate everything you guys do, because keep working!
That's Tom Wilson with his best Al Padrique impression. Come on over here, Al. We're not done with you yet. 91 victories in the regular season now, a few more here in the postseason. I guess it's the best way to go off into the sunset with the season. One more trophy, right?
Well, first of all, I want to say thank you to the Memphis fans. That was awesome. Playing on this circumstances, atmosphere, you guys were real outstanding. And I got to thank to the team, the staff. Great year. We went through a lot of stuff as a normal AAA team, but we never gave up. We lost some key players, and these guys that stayed in the team did a great job by playing as a team, played together, believe in themselves, and like I say every day, and even repeat it, keep working. Great job.
We've got one more piece of hardware to hand out. That's to the Baseball America AAA National Championship MVP. And tonight the winner of that is Chris Parmalee for the Scranton Wilkes-Barre Rail Riders. Chris Parmalee, 10 years in pro ball. I guess your 11th year, 2006 first-round pick. You've been in the big leagues. You've been back. It's been a long road for you. What does this night mean to you, and what does this trophy mean to you?
I mean, it's a huge accomplishment. It's one of the first championships I've ever won in minor league ball. So, it's super special. These guys have been, phenomenal, and it's definitely a team thing. We never gave up, and we kept working every day, just like our manager said. I mean,
you guys had Sanchez, Judge, Austin, a lot of guys get to the big leagues during this season that you guys had to kind of step forward and replace. What's that mentality like to keep working? How do you just keep working and go through those promotions?
You know, it's a testament to our coaching staff and our manager, definitely. You know, it's tough at this level, guys going up and down and whatnot, but, you know, he definitely kept the atmosphere light, and, you know, he made us have fun.
One more quick one. Were you out front on that home run? What was it? Take us through that home run. Didn't look like it was the most classic ABD Bulldog swing like they taught you back in Cali.
You know, I was just looking for a good pitch to hit and try to hammer. You know, that's my job in this team, and that's to put the ball in the seats as many times as I can. So I'm going up there looking to do damage every time.
You did damage. Scranton did damage all year, 91 wins, and then this championship. Congratulations, guys. Everybody give it one more hand. The Scranton Wilkes-Barre Rail Riders, AAA national champions.
A night to remember here in Memphis, the Music City, and boy, did they play the right tune for the Scranton Wilkes-Barre Rail Riders on this night. Whole lot more to talk about. Al Pedrique and his club celebrating. We'll continue the story from Memphis after these messages. Final script of the 2016 AAA baseball season has been written. Scranton Wilkes-Barre Rail Riders winners over the El Paso Chihuahuas 3-1 for the 2016 Gildan AAA National Championship game. Whole lot of celebration still going on down in the field. Let's go back to John Manuel.
We're here in Memphis with Clint Frazier, Jordan Montgomery, two of the Scranton Wilkes-Barre Rail Riders. Clint, that's a mouthful to say first off, but second off, you squeezed the last out there. They had an adventure earlier in the game in right field, but what was that feeling, squeezing that last out and being part of a championship team here?
It's the first championship I've won in the minor leagues, so, you know, to catch the final out is special, but, you know, that's not all that happened during the game. I'm just glad that I was in the lineup and, you know, can contribute in some way.
Yeah, you had a line drive base hit in the first inning. You guys jumped on Lockett right from the start.
Yeah, you know, I think from the beginning we were locked in, you know, kind of got cold after that, but, you know, it's about that first inning, and, you know, we came out strong and we closed it out.
Well, congratulations to you. I'll go on to Jordan here. You go celebrate. Don't make Jordan wait. But Jordan, 5+ innings. You got that first inning 3-run cushion. It seemed like you got in a real rhythm after that.
Yeah, that was huge. It's always easier. Takes a lot of pressure off the game when you know your guys are swinging it, and they're really aggressive team, so I tried to mix and keep them off balance as well as I could.
And both teams, they were very aggressive. Were you able to use that against them? A few more off-speed pitches, first early count against aggressive hitters?
Yeah. I mean, they were just trying to hit fastballs, and I made a couple mistakes with them where I left them up, where they were able to find a lot of barrel on them. But defense, outfield, ran down a lot of balls for me. Infield stopped them. I mean, it was a good team effort tonight.
What is this? How does this help you go into an off season to going off a win like that? Not many teams win their final game.
Yeah, I mean, you always want to win your last start and go into the off season with a good mindset. So it was huge, especially after my last outing, to go out there and kind of just mix, pitch, and put our team in a good spot to win.
And we got to see Phil Koch hit 98 on the scoreboard. That's always a fun thing too. So hey, congratulations. Go celebrate with your teammates.
All right,
back up to George and Jim.
Thanks, John. Great job as usual. Final 3-1. Scranton Wilkes-Barre winners. More to talk about. A whole lot more to celebrate after these messages. Welcome back to downtown Memphis, Tennessee, the Music City, and the home of the great Peabody, one of the all-time great Southern hotels. And an all-time great night for the Scranton Wilkes-Barre Rail Riders as they're victorious in the final game of this 2016 season. And Kitty, it makes no difference what year, what city, what league. To win your final game and a championship is special.
Well, as John said in the interview, there's just a couple teams that win their last game, so most teams are disappointed. But I like Jordan Montgomery's interview there where he talked about the early cushion, and I really think what helped him, he was coming off a very bad start against Gwinnett, where he didn't get out of the first inning. So the fact that El Paso was aggressive, he got 3 quick outs. He relaxed a little bit. His team got him 3 runs, and you could almost tell his tempo and his pitches. And he did what Lockett was not able to do in the first inning. He took a little off, added a little on, and he had the Chihuahua hitters off balance most of the first 5 innings.
You've been in that locker room when a celebration takes place, and you and I have done this game for a number of years. Yeah. It never gets tired to watch the way they celebrated after a long season. 91 wins, 92 is what will tell the story of the season for them, and a happy group of guys heading home.
Yeah, what I think players really, the reason they celebrate, I mean, it's kind of an exhale and you celebrate, but when you think about it, teams go to spring training in February. Yeah. A lot of players now have off-season routines where they're either rehabbing, and now you go to spring training, you don't know what team you're on. Then it's a long season, and all of a sudden you get to that last game and you can say, you know, there's nobody standing. We're the champs. It's a wonderful feeling no matter what classification you're playing.
That wonderful feeling is thanks to some highlights from tonight. The story of it, Chris Parmalee, the big swing in the first inning, 2 singles, and this swing, it was a dandy, Giddy.
Yeah, as he told John, he said, I'm up there to do some damage. And anytime a right-hand pitcher throws a little breaking ball in on a lefty and drops the barrel on it. And then, of course, in addition, there's the play you talked about that really helped him as well in the field.
Mark Payton with the tying runs on, comes up with this one on the foul line, and it came off the bat of Hunter Renfroe, an outstanding offensive player, so they got him out of the batter's box. And then Frazier grabs the final out.
Away.
Can you believe that? He threw the ball away.
Oh.
Final thoughts on this one, Kitty. We've done it a number of years. It never gets tired. And congratulations to Rod Barajas. He's heading home to his 8 children. Congratulations to Al Pedrique. He's heading to winter ball in Venezuela. And we've had a good night.
Yeah, we really have. And I was interested in hearing that both Parmalee and Frazier said this is our first championship in the minor league. So it's going to be a great memory for them.
Great memory from us, too. Thanks for joining us on the 2016 Gildan AAA National Championship game. A story for fans in Scranton, Wilkes-Barre that will live on till next year, because a year from now we go to Scranton, Wilkes-Barre for the championship game. That'll be a fun trip.
Look forward to it.
We look forward to seeing you next year. We look forward to seeing you at a minor league ballpark. See you at the ballpark, everybody. Thanks for joining us for the Gildan AAA National Championship game tonight on NBCSN.